Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Thank you so much for supporting WWE and NXT and me. You're so sweet.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
Just like Bill Murray never gets to fuck Andy McDowell, we never get any resolution on anything in this fucking promotion. Not even War Games can end a feud in this company.
Rich Prage.
Every single time she comes out, he goes, I was trying to help you. I was trying to help you. You know?
Because again, you have to be a simpleton to enjoy this.
Statistically dumb and statistically poor. We should point that out.
Yeah, you're right. You have to be a simpleton to enjoy this because every time is the same.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you? How's 2025 treating you, more importantly? How's this new year?
Thank you for supporting WWE and NXT and me. You're so sweet. Do you think like people recognize who that is, who weren't around for the bit, or that's just comes across pretty random? Maybe
I think
we
it comes
just
across
never
pretty
explain
random.
it. Right?
No, yeah, I'm good.
Just let it hang there.
I'm good. There was a long time. There was a lot of people were too, because we had the breaky, bishi, and there's a lot of people that only know that from us and didn't know that was like a very notable thing, right 11 years ago or whatever it was, the Japanese announcers screaming that was like that got passed around a lot and everybody knew about it or whatever, but we put it in the intro and we've had it in the intro now for 11 years or whatever, and there's new people to listen, and every so often we'll get people that are like, all right, I know I should probably know this, but what is that? And we have to, someone says, oh, it's this, and they go, oh, okay, cool, because they don't know. I want to keep that in there for a while and let people, they'll figure it out eventually. And if they don't, they don't. They just know that we support WWE and me and NXT. That's fine. That's enough. They know when they listen to the Flagship that the three things we love most are Thea Hale, NXT, and WWE.
Yeah, some hot WWE action.
Love it.
Well, think of it this way. There are people who are like 20, 21 years old. There are people who will hit the legal drinking age this year who were 7 when this podcast started.
I don't like that at all.
So
I don't like that at all.
They don't know the breaky, bishi clip.
No.
They know nothing of Masato Tanaka. What do they know? They don't know anything. They're 20. So that's why it's confusing. They weren't wrestling fans, There's a lot of people of that age who listen to this show. So I think that the little Thea Hale clip there will probably end up having the same effect. No one's going to know who that is, especially our audience. Our audience isn't going to recognize that voice.
No, definitely not. Yeah, we had Cody in that spot for a long time. Though, what do you guys want to talk about? We had that in the spot for a very long time, but I finally decided it had run its course and it was time for something new. So that's when Thea Hale stepped up and filled the void.
It's funny because I feel like Case Lowe has been in our orbit this entire time, but Case Lowe also never gets any older than like 25 somehow.
No. There was a time when he was definitely very young.
Listen,
like
Case Lowe
were voiding. We definitely could have been violating child labor laws at some point with Case Lowe. I think that's a very real possibility, given how young he was.
Case Lowe has been in his early 20s for 9 years. Like he always, every time he says how old he is, it's like
always 26.
You've gained 2 years in 7 years. How does the earth rotate around the sun slower for you? It doesn't make any sense. But you'd think that he'd be like 40 by now, but he's not. He's like 24. So that doesn't make any sense. But there's someone listening to this show right now that was like 7 years old when we did the first show. And I will keep bringing it up because I know it makes you deeply uncomfortable.
It does. It just, I'm just thinking more or less. I'm thinking of a 7-year-old, not the fact that like I'm old and we've been doing the show that long. I'm thinking of a 7-year-old listening to us back then. You know what I mean? Back in 2012 when the show was as, what it was back then. Can you imagine like a 7-year-old or a child being, subjected to that show back then?
Well, no, I'm not saying that there were 7-year-olds listening.
No. That's where my mind goes.
Yeah.
My mind goes to that person that listens to us right now. My mind goes that this person grew up with us. That we were in their ears when they were 7, and now we're in their ears now when they're of legal drinking age, and how fucked up they would be if we raised them. You know what I mean? Like if
no,
we,
not, yeah, there's people, we take it for granted that everybody listening understands all the deep cut inside bits that we do, and they don't. We get people like every other month say, "Hey guys, what does TLB mean?" You know what I mean? Like no one knows what we just take it for granted that everybody understands all this shit, right? Like when you reference the nurse, they might think that you're like just perpetually ill. Like they don't
right.
know. They don't
this man seems to have a problematic relationship with his medical professionals,
his healthcare provider.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeps talking about his healthcare provider's breasts. I don't like this at all. This is a bad show.
Why does this man have a nurse who curses at him all the time? He should find a new doctor. Like that's what a lot of these people are probably thinking. Because we just take it for granted that they know. But again, if you're like 25, you right now you're a literal child when this show started. So, Thea Hale's going to have that same effect. I mean, and again, our audience, they're not going to recognize her voice. Thea Hale.
It's also not a very recognizable voice. Yeah, it's not a very, I mean, it just sounds like any number of, if I told you that was Izzy Dame, nobody would know. Yeah,
why would you?
Difference.
What percentage of our audience has seen Thea Hale wrestle a match?
Of our audience, of our thousands of listeners, probably,
what percentage of our audience?
I would say a healthy 45%. I'd say a healthy 45% has seen.
You think 40? You think that many?
Yeah,
you think that many?
I do.
I think it's lower.
It is NXT. It is NXT, which is
it's not even main roster. It's NXT, and I think that we have a very large chunk of people. I mean, people get mad when we talk about WWE. There are people that get mad at us when we even broach the subject. Not everybody. Some people want more WWE talk. Every time I talk WWE on a Flagship Plus, do you notice the comments on the Patreon side?
Yeah, people love it.
More of this. You should do more Raw reviews. I'm like, look, I can only stomach as much as
yeah,
I'm
you're
doing
lucky
now.
you got this. This is already hard enough to do.
Like, and then there's other people who are like, they can't stand it. They're like, why you do what? Why? No, never. Just eliminate it totally. So I would say the number's under 45%. I would say the percentage of people who will listen to this podcast that have seen a Thea Hale match, one Thea Hale match, start to finish, I would go closer to 25 or 30%.
25. Okay. All right.
I'd go close to 25, 30%.
I guess when you
put up a poll in our chat. Put up a poll in the chat. Have you ever seen a Thea Hale match start to finish? It's a small sample size, but let's see what the chat says. And listen, the chat room, you guys are like animals. Just be honest with it. And if you've seen a Thea Hale match, one Thea Hale match start to finish, just select yes in the poll. And I want to get a scientific sample here as I wait for the poll to pop up. There it is. Have you ever seen a Thea Hale match start to finish? Don't lie. Be honest. And we will check on that as we move along here. We'll leave that poll up because obviously the show, everyone knows we're never on time. So there will be more people coming into the chat as we move this thing along. I'm now thinking about this. How many Thea Hale matches have I seen start to finish? Probably less than 10. She doesn't wrestle that much.
She doesn't
either.
wrestle
That's the
very
other
much.
thing, right?
No, I guess that would be the other thing too. Is like we know her more as the bit character in the background, making funny faces during a Chase U match. But
the extremely annoying bit character
Yes.
running around the background of the Chase U scenes. One of the most annoying wrestlers ever, in my opinion, Thea Hale. So we'll see. We'll check on that later. But see, I think it's going to be pretty low because she just doesn't wrestle that much. Can you think of a notable Thea Hale match in your head as we have?
No.
I mean,
no,
she hardly ever wrestles. It's not like I didn't say a good one. I said a notable.
just
one.
a notable
Yeah.
Thea Hale
Like
match.
one.
Let's see what. Let's see what I want to see even if the cage match inmates, the very quite lost cage match inmates, what they think if I go to the match guide of Thea Hale.
They're getting a little better.
They're not that much good. Okay.
A little better.
There is, I can't believe I got Dave Meltzer's on this one too. Roxanne Perez versus Thea Hale, 8.05 on cage match and a 4-star notebook match from Mr. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
That's probably her most notable match. I remember that match. You can shave about half the points off of that one. It wasn't that good.
No. Great American Bash 2024 was Roxanne Perez versus Thea Hale. Number 2, these are the only ones that are above 7, is a fatal 4-way match between Fallon Henley, Kiana James, Roxanne Perez, and Thea Hale. That is from just some random episode of NXT. That got 3 and 3/4 from Dave and a 7.03 from the inmates.
Who could forget that famous 4-way match?
In the great tradition of women's fatal 4-way matches. AEW has a great tradition of them, and NXT clearly has a great tradition of them too. So
that's AEW. I don't confuse the two promotions now. It's AEW that has the famous tradition of 4-way women's matches. At what pay-per-view is that supposed to be at if they do that? They tried to sell us on that.
Was it Double or Nothing? I think it was Double or Nothing. Was it Double? I don't even know what the hell it was. Yes. That was a great segment last year where they were just like, it's yet another example of our traditional women's 4-way. I was like, oh.
And we're like, what? Who says?
Yeah, says who?
Nobody. That's who. Nobody says. Somebody name one. Go ahead. I dare you. Right. Name one off the top of your head. These famous AEW 4-way women's matches. Yeah, I don't know. I got.
And the rest of these are battle royals. By the way. So
she doesn't wrestle much.
She does not wrestle much.
Yeah. She doesn't get in there very often. I mean, she had that feud with Toxic Attraction 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She wrestled her a bunch of times, I think.
Yeah.
JC Jane, who won me over eventually. Like I kind of like.
You become
JC
a convert.
Jane
you become a convert.
I was like, Toxic Attraction 3 has no future. She should just go work at the fucking bank or the office or the mill right now. And then she won me over. So I have to hand it to her, to JC Jane. I will not disrespect her by calling her Toxic Attraction 3. She's doing better than the other two Toxic Attractions. She's the survivor of the group.
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah, because Mandy Rose is just, I don't know what the hell she's doing now. Still probably rating dick pics or whatever online. Right. And then Gigi Dolan, I think she's hurt or something. I don't even know what the fuck's going on with Gigi Dolan.
Don't know what
the last time I
doing.
remember seeing Gigi Dolan was during Halloween Havoc when she did the intro for it and was like, today is the night of the ghouls or whatever. I was like, okay, great.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
The only problem with JC Jane is she's getting a little up there for NXT and she's been there forever and she's, because she's not a kid. I don't think she's one of these NXT people that's like in their 20s or whatever. But they've because she's been there so long, I do notice like on Twitter, they've come to calling her like the auntie of NXT, which is not something you want. You don't want to pick up that rep for, being like the old. She's 28 and they consider, she's a little younger than I thought, but they consider her like the old lady of the brand.
Yeah.
Like
Well, 28 is pretty old compared to where most other people in that brand is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
All right, guys, we lost Joe. We'll try to get him back here in a sec. All right, you back, Joe? Having some connection issues, I think.
What are you talking about? You just heard what I said, right?
No. You did break off for a little bit, but you appear to be back now. Maybe, Joe, peek behind the curtain. You want to go to audio only here on this the Slack thing? There, that might help us. That might help us. All right, let's see.
First thing I do. Already did it. You want me to leave and come back? You want me to leave and come back? I'll leave and come back. No, you've shamed me, and I'm going to leave and come back. Maybe, how about this? Maybe I'll leave and I won't come back. How about that?
Oh, no.
Maybe
I'll.
You're like, oh, no. What will I do? Oh, I'll also leave.
Right. Now I'll do the show for like an hour, and then I'll just go to bed at a reasonable hour, I think. Yeah.
I'll go watch the end of Memphis, Florida, Atlantic. I don't have a problem with that.
Are we still bowl gaming, or is that college hoops?
It's basketball. I don't watch bowl games. What are you, out of your mind?
I thought you watched. You're not a bowl game freak. You're not watching the.
Oh my God, no! You don't know that about me.
You're not watching the Bell helicopter. Is the Bell helicopter like San Diego Bowl still a thing, or?
I don't know. There's nothing in sports I want to watch less than college football bowl games. They're such a waste of time. You can't even bet on them because you don't know who's playing in them anymore.
Because half the guys, they've really lost every bit of relevance because I watched one the other day. Well, I forget what it was. I watched the one the other day, and they started off being like, "Well, this team doesn't have their starting quarterback or half their offensive line or their running back, and they're two of their wide receivers, but they're going to come out here with some fights and some energy." And I'm like, "Oh God, what is this? Oh, what was it? I forget what it was, but they were explaining that like just none of the offense.
Well,
everyone of the offense
either
graduated.
That's all of them now.
Yeah, it was like everyone's in the transfer portal. The one good guy is declaring for the draft, and like the rest of the guys are just fucking. And it's like, well, this is a really good time to look at what's coming forward for next year. And I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I don't care what's coming forward next year for the. I forget what it was, what game, but yeah, that's every game, so it doesn't matter.
Could have been any of them. It's all the bowl games are like that. None of them. No one plays in them. Anyway, the chat is saying I never left. All right, pal. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and my screen you left, so it's okay. They don't see what I see. All right, don't worry about it.
They don't see what you see, but they hear the sweet serenade of my incredible voice, and that's really all that matters here, isn't it?
True.
No, but I don't watch these stupid bowls, and I wouldn't be caught dead watching a bowl. They're a complete waste of time.
We have one. There's one going on right now. Why is the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl still going on?
I don't know. Who cares?
When we're deep into the college football playoff, we can't be having these other games. We can't have the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl and the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. The fucking Mayo Bowl hasn't even happened yet. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
So dumb. Oh, they're going to dump mayo on the coach. It's hilarious. All right, we get it. We saw it.
Yeah, we heard you.
Now.
We heard you.
We got to. Yeah, we got to keep dumping mayo on the coach. Like I don't know. I don't. It's
And then my favorite
thing,
the Pop-Tart thing. I'm so over the Pop-Tart thing.
Stupid waste of my time. Just annoying.
I do love this.
We get
though.
it. They eat the mascot. We get it.
The mascots are Pop-Tarts and they dance. And there's sprinkles. There's sprinkles on the sidelines, Joe. There are sprinkles on the sidelines.
I didn't find that fun or amusing the first year. Who cares that they're eating the Pop-Tart mask? Why am I supposed to be amused by that?
I'll give them a little bit of credit for at least trying to stand out in the muck of all this other bullshit. Like the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl and the Surf Pro First Responders Bowl are not trying. You know what I mean? They're not putting any effort into that whatsoever. They don't.
That's true. And you have to roll out the gimmicks because the games aren't worth watching.
Right. So I give them credit on the gimmicks. The problem is everybody pretending the gimmicks are like really fun and unique and stuff. That's what bothers me more so than the Pop-Tart Bowl doing gimmicks. I get it. But then people pretending, oh my God, the strawberry Pop-Tart came out of the toaster. This is the greatest moment in sports history. It's like, calm down.
Yeah. Which Pop-Tart are they going to eat this year? And there's like 3. Who cares?
Right.
Why would you possibly care? No fun Lanza, but it annoys me.
Yeah. You'll like this, though. The final non-college football playoff bowl game is, of course, the Bahamas Bowl presented by Atlantis Resorts in Nassau. I love that all college sports begins and ends with a trip to the Atlantis. Because college basketball has got the ridiculous Atlantis thing with the ceiling that's like a foot taller than the hoop because they're in some ballroom or something like that. I love those games. Yeah. And then the Bahamas, Buffalo and Liberty being like, yeah, I think we can go to the Bahamas on January 4th. I think we can make that work. Yeah, sure. We'll play in this, in front of 11 people at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium in Nassau. Yeah, we'll do that.
There got to be something better to do than watch Buffalo and Liberty playing a bowl game. There has to be anything better to do.
At 10 a.m. on a Saturday?
Just, come on. With nobody playing in the game, nobody cares. There has to be something better to do. So no, I do not. I'm angry that you think I'm a fan of bowl games. I've never been a fan of bowl games for the 13-year history of the show. Not, we've had this conversation before.
I was wondering if maybe you changed because the Bad Boy Mowers Yankee Pinstripe Bowl or whatever got you inspired to watch again. But no, you that's true. You've never been a bowl game.
Never been a bowl game guy.
Nah.
No.
I find I enjoy it. Well, you like having a game on. You are a man who loves a game. You love turning your TV on and putting on a game.
That's true, but I'm consistent here. I don't watch spring training baseball ever. I don't watch preseason football. I can't watch meaningless sport.
Okay. It's got to have some stakes.
I don't watch all-star games. Yeah. I can't.
All right, we're back. Reestablished connection between us. We're back, hopefully.
Haven't we
good.
been we weren't back that whole time?
No, all your bits, those bits that you just had, no. Nobody heard any of those bits.
What are you doing over there? What's going on with this show's a disaster?
I'm muting bits. I didn't know what you were going blue. I don't know what you're talking about over there. So we muted. We're back.
Material. I figured it was going out to the people.
No. I got to pay for that. Well, I have it recorded so we can release the 1 minute lost tapes of us talking for 2 seconds.
The lost tapes,
right?
You got to push that hard on Twitter. These are the lost tapes.
It's you saying, yeah, we're good, right? Yeah, we're good. All right. Yeah, the nurse, I told her to get off her Wi-Fi. All right, we're good. All right, we're back. Yeah.
Rare footage that the live audience didn't hear.
Yeah.
But so you guys will have a minute extra. You got to go back and listen to that extra minute that you missed because I was in full performance mode.
It was good. You had a lot of bits. A lot of bits in that 1 minute. Yeah. And you got a lot of them in there. Yeah.
Very funny.
Oh, yes. Perhaps your funniest bits of the entire show, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious. And you denied all the listeners that when I never felt like I dropped off to begin with. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think it was a you. I don't think it was a me. I think it was the way that we're recording this. I think it was more on them more so than us. So I'm not blaming you. You're very very defensive today. What's going on? What's happening?
I am defensive about it because historically you blame me when something goes wrong. And I'm just here along for the ride. I don't handle none of the back end. But historically, you typically.
How's this connect? Are you hardwired into your internet there, pal? Or are you using Wi-Fi?
Hardwired? Is this 2013? Why would I be hardwired into the? I've never been hardwired. Am I supposed to be hardwired?
I mean, probably help.
Are you hardwired?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't understand why you're dropping off then if you're hardwired.
So now you're trying to make me anxious by blaming me.
Listen, I could hear you. I've never stopped hearing you, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I never fell off. But historically, you blame me whenever there's an issue. I'm just saying, historically, you blame me. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. You get the T5 connection over there. I'm sorry. Maybe it is me. Over here at my 56K, maybe. I don't know.
I just think you got a lot of connections in the household. You're not hardwired in. You're going on the Wi-Fi. That's all I'm saying. You got kids. You got wives. You got stream. I yell at the nurse and run in and say, "Turn all your shit off. Go to bed. We're flagship time." You know what I mean? Yeah. You're setting up
the same bed. Well, she should be sitting in a dark room with a candle, reading a book.
There it is. That lost tapes. There you go, folks. You don't have to pay for them this week. We're helping you out. Those were the bits. That was.
Tell her it's 8:16. Go to bed.
Yep.
You'd be in bed by now.
I'd be thinking about it. Yeah, I don't always go to bed at 8:16. I'm thinking about it though. You know what I mean? Definitely considering it at that point.
You're getting the buttermilk warmed up and you're thinking about it.
Does buttermilk go to room temp or do you like heat it up in like a saucepan or whatever?
Well, here's the thing. Don't act like you don't know. Okay, you get in there with the saucepan. You heat up your buttermilk.
Do you drink buttermilk at like hot temperatures, or is it?
You do. Don't look at me, pal.
Okay.
I'm pounding Coke Z's till 4 a.m.
Sure,
it's not me here. You're the one getting a nice warm glass of buttermilk and hitting the sack at 9 o'clock. Not me. You put on your Ebenezer Scrooge sleeping gown. The long one
with the ball on it.
Complete with that.
The sleeping hat. Why would you ever need that? Who's ever wanted to have a hat on while they're sleeping? What the fuck?
The long sleeping gown.
Is there a purpose for the hat? I just thought about that. What the fuck is the hat for?
keeps your head warm. Is what it does. You know, it's he lives in the olden times.
That's true. It's probably very cold. It was probably pretty cold in the olden times. Yeah.
What year was that supposed to be? Like 1750 or something?
Scrooge. Yeah, like our very relevant Scrooge discussion on January 2nd. Yeah, I don't know what Ebenezer.
When did Dickens live? It was more like the 1800s,
yeah,
right?
1840. I think he was like 1840ish or somewhere around that. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, so it's cold, so he's got the little hat with the gown, the sleeping gown. You know.
Yeah, the gown I get.
That's
the
how
gown
I
I
picture
get. The hat. Are you really trapping that much heat in the cap, in the sleeping cap with the big, the long sleeping cap with the little? Because it's also not like a stocking cap either. You know what I mean? It's not. It's like this very inefficient looking dunce cap looking thing with the little poof on the end. You know what I'm saying? It seems like a lot, but
where does that take place? London? Is it chilly there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking cold, man.
Yeah. I think he's fine. Ebenezer. All right. Anyway.
It's like that's why he's got the buttermilk in the fucking long pajamas because, I think you do heat up the buttermilk. I think that's how you drink it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look that up right now. How do you normally drink buttermilk? I looked up what's the best way to drink buttermilk. Let's see. I can't really. Drinking it before a meal may help stimulate appetite, while having it after can aid in digestion. Cool.
Come on, who's doing any of that?
Sounds like ridiculous. I need to stimulate my appetite. Let me drink some buttermilk before my meal. Because when I see buttermilk,
honey, I'm home. Dinner smells delicious. I better get a little buttermilk in me, so I got room for those Brussels sprouts. I mean, who's doing that?
Yeah,
Nobody's doing that.
Seems wild. I can't figure out if you should heat it up or not.
Made up that you read.
Yeah, everything. Everything. Yeah, it aids in digestion afterwards. So if you've had quite too many Brussels sprouts, you need to aid your digestion. So you decide to drink buttermilk, and not anything else that would aid your digestion. You know what would not aid my digestion? Drinking fucking buttermilk. For God's sake.
I don't need any aid in my. I shit 6 times a day. I don't need any aid in my digestion.
We have talked about that. You're quite a consistent pooper, which is good.
Yeah, I shit all the time. I'm constantly shitting. My digestion's fine. I don't need buttermilk to aid with that. I've never been constipated. I don't even understand the concept. How are you ever constipated? I could shit right now if I really needed to. I don't understand how people get constipated.
This is the worst show we've ever done.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Never in your life.
I've had gas.
Never in your life.
I've never been constipated. I've had gas since 1998. I don't think I've never not had gas. I don't get it.
Maybe try some buttermilk. That might help ease the stomach. You seem to have some sort of.
This is working fine. I'm shitting fine.
Well, the gas thing. Maybe you have something going on there. Maybe
you don't fart constantly.
No, not really.
I fart constantly. The only time I'm not farting.
Constantly. We have never started a show without you burping loudly before we started.
The only times I'm not farting is when I'm holding it in because I'm around polite company.
Otherwise, you're just letting her rip.
If I'm alone, I'm probably averaging 3 or 4 farts an hour.
An hour? Wow. Okay. No, you might try some buttermilk. Consult your medical professional, your PCP, Joe. I know you have a PCP, and ask them maybe some buttermilk might be able to help you with.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sounds very some acid reflux or something going on in that stomach. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if you should be farting that much. And I've heard the burping too. The burping is a lot.
A lot of burping.
As I said, I don't think I've ever been on the phone or whatever phone. Like I'm calling your number. All right, Joe, get to your phone. We got to do a flagship here. Let's go. The phone. I've never been on a digital call, fucking whatever, and not have you burp loudly at some point in the 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes before we get ready to do the show. Never once.
Yeah, because I'm letting it out, so it's not.
You're getting it ready ahead of time. Yeah. Have you ever heard me burp during any of those?
Not one time.
Not one time. I'm not a burper. I don't burp that much.
Not one time.
I let some farts out every so often, but not. What are you 3 to 4 times an hour?
I would guess, yeah, minimum.
That seems like a lot.
I mean,
that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I got some healthy bowels. They're always moving.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just moving so quick. They're just flowing in and out so quick. Yeah, you can't. I don't know. That seems like too much.
Never had a problem pooping. No problem at all. Like, what is that like when people get constant? Like, does it hurt? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't happen to me very often, but it's not great.
So it's just like all backed up.
Yeah, like you feel you feel like you gotta go, and then you try to go, and then it just hurts.
Doesn't come out.
Yeah, it's not fun. And then eventually,
so then when it comes out, is it like hard as a rock? Like,
it sucks.
How does that work?
Yeah, it just comes out in pebbles. Either comes out in pebbles
What?
like you're a little rabbit, or it just hurts. It just comes out and it fucking hurts. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I have nice, like, floofy shit all the time. Like, it's just it's a real nice consistency. It's it's soft, it's pillowy. It's good. It's good. And I don't have any problems at all. I mean, multiple times a day. So yeah, there's people in my life, I don't want to embarrass them, who get constipated, and I just don't understand it. I have no concept of it.
Ash Jenkum asks, does that mean we've all been here for Joe farting at least 12 to 16 times a week?
Without question.
On the flagship. You're ripping during the flagship.
Yeah, I probably farted just now. I don't know. I don't even think about it.
It just comes out. So have you reached like the old man stage where you're just farting without even...
I mean, they're not like cartoonish, like blowing up the fucking house. It's just,
Just a little, okay.
Yeah, like, they're not like, it's not like an Adam Sandler movie or something. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Constant. I didn't realize it was strange. I thought most people were just holding in gas around other people.
No. That's just you, but that's all right.
Oh, all right. I do control it around company.
That's good. That's at least good. Yeah. I'm sure you take a couple trips over to the bathroom though while you're at someone's house and
now listen, I'll crop dust a motherfucker in public though. Like no hesitation.
That's a very it's a very fun thing to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
Especially when you tell somebody you're with, like, you're like, I'm gonna do this right now. Like, just kidding.
Yeah. Or sometimes if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm in an aisle alone and I'm just letting them rip, but then someone comes down, like, I better get out of here because there's no plausible. They're gonna know it's me.
Right. They can't.
So I have
only you and this other guy are looking at the soups, so the guy's gonna know this fucker just farted. It smells awful.
Right. So yeah, like if there's other people around and I'm letting off silent ones, I'm fine because they can't pinpoint you. But if I'm alone in like the grocery store aisle and I'm just letting them rip while I'm looking at while I'm price comparing, whatever item I'm looking at. Pop-Tarts to bring it full circle.
Mm-hmm.
If someone comes down that aisle, I'm out of there. I'm getting blamed for that, so I don't want them to associate the rancid funk with me. So I am gone. Like, I immediately see from the corner of my eye and I'm out of there. But will I crop dust people in public? I absolutely will. And do I think it's funny like I'm 13 years old? Yes.
Of course.
It's very
funny. It's very funny.
I think it's hilarious.
It's kind of funny when it happens to you too. Like, it happened to me the other day, and I was just like, "What a rascal! Like, who did this?" You know what I mean? Like,
someone got me. Someone got me.
And I heard somebody giggling. I heard and it was like a young couple too. I remember I was at this store and I heard a young couple giggle, and then they like left an aisle, and then I went in that aisle and it smelled horrible, and I was like, "Damn, they got me."
Yeah,
they got me, and they knew it too. It was like. It was like this 17-year-old couple,
It's definitely the guy. Let's be honest. Come on, it was.
I think so too. Of course, yeah. Because no, women do not fart. We know that. That's recorded.
No, they just don't have that function.
Yeah. So yeah, but I remember I wasn't mad. I walked into the aisle and I was like, God damn, that smells horrible. Nice job. I was like, bravo, kids. Yeah. The youth. Everybody says the youth. There's no, the youth of this world and this country. No. They still. I could still lay down a good crop dust. They're good in my mind.
Wait a minute. Hold on. There's a thing that like Gen Z doesn't fart.
No. I just mean in general. I have no idea what the prevailing thought is about Gen Z's farting habits. I just meant more in general. It's like, the kids, they're all so different, and it's like, no. The classics still work. A good old crop dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every generation can still appreciate a good crop dust. So.
Yeah, for sure. I got the boy. He's old enough now where he'll come into a room and be like, "Hey, Dad, listen to this." lift his leg and then run away. You know,
It's the best. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, you can't.
Anybody
deny
who doesn't
that
find
it's
farts funny is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine
they
going through
are-
life and not finding farts hilarious?
Yeah, you know, he'll ball up the fists, do a little lift of one of the legs,
The
big
lifting of
shit-eating
the
grin
legs
on his
is
face.
great. That's the best. Yeah.
You know, big shit-eating grin. Then he'll let it fly, and then he'll giggle and run back up the stairs. You know,
It's
and
classic.
he'll just, yeah, because he's seen me do that to him. You know, like I'll just go in his room. He's in there minding his business, playing Fortnite or whatever he's doing, you know, and I'll just rip one off and then laugh and leave the room, you know, and I could hear him in there going, screaming, yelling, panicking. So now he does it to me, and it's just, you know,
classic.
that's bonding.
It's a classic
That's male
bit.
bonding.
A classic male bit. A classic male bit of bonding. Yeah, is a good old
Right.
good old fart.
He'll do that to his boy someday.
Of course.
He'll do that to
Yeah,
his
it's a rite of
boy
passage.
someday. You know, my old man would do that in the car and hot box us with.
Oh,
me,
that's
you know?
tough.
It just-
That's tough. Yeah, but a
He
good
was
bit.
just-
But a
and-
good bit nonetheless.
Yeah, oh yeah, and listen, his were horrendous. He'd have us, you know, we'd be in the car in the middle of winter with the heat on, right? And you know, and this is a greasy Italian man who never ate a vegetable in his life. You know, this is, you know,
Real Al
you know,
Michaels.
this
Real
is-
real Al Michaels hours over there for Mr.
This
Lanza.
guy just had marinara. This guy just had marinara and garlic running through his veins. Okay, so it'd be 10 degrees outside in Union County, New Jersey, and he'd have the windows rolled up, and you know, the heat blasting out of the 1979 Pontiac, and you know that's that hot heat.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like that fire heat coming out of the vents of one of them old beaters. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Because believe me, my family couldn't afford a Rolls Royce. Okay, let's put it that way. So, you know, you got the Skylark or the Pontiac, you know, with the hot heat coming out of the heater, and he'd lift that leg and let it rip, and we would just be dying. It'd be like death in there, you know, and it'd be awful, you know, with that man with that horrendous diet. So, you know, and then you pass that on to your boy, you know, when he's playing Fortnite. He gets the abuse, and then he comes down and does it to me. He'll do it to his boy someday. It's great.
Mhm.
You know, now I'm totally sexist because I won't do it to the girl. I won't do it to the girl. I don't go into her room and blow a fart at her. I don't do that. You know, you can't. It's a boy thing. It's not it's a male bonding thing. You know, it's not something you should do with the girl. So, you know, hands up, guilty, Rich. Guilty is charged. That's my sexism in play. I will not.
Yikes, Joe.
Yeah, I will not fart at my daughter. I won't.
Yikes.
Do it. Yes, exactly.
The blue skies
So-
aren't going to like that one. The blue skies are going to be
Yeah,
quite upset with that, I'm sure.
they'll ban you from Blue Sky for that. I will fart at my son, but not at my daughter. They'll ban you.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be banned from Blue Sky. That's Twitter. That's X content only. That kind of content. You can't bring that to Blue Sky.
Oh, God. Anyway, we should probably get to some professional wrestling at some point.
Should we?
On this show,
Should we?
there's some good stuff to talk about. Yeah, we got to talk about our boy Davey Boy Smith Jr. We got to talk about TBS JR.
One of the most unintentionally funny men.
He's so good.
He's such a funny
It's
man.
so good. We got to get to that. We have to talk about that. But no, we got plenty of wrestling to talk about here. We have a contract season, the first contract season update of the year, including the annual "This is not really news. Why are you all covering it as news?" Bit with the New Japan contracts. We'll do that yet again, as well as some actual real contract news in Japan as well. New era of wrestling content: Netflix, Max, New Japan on Access. A lot of changes going on with the calendar turning into 2025. So I at least wanted to check everybody in with that and see what's available, because I actually wasn't sure as well what's available on the international archives on Netflix for WWE. But luckily, Griffin Peltier in Canada was able to kind of run down everything that's available in the archives there, so we can go over that, as well as AEW, finally launching on Max, and their archives are added to the site sort of in the same way that WWE's archives are sort of added to Netflix, and like I said, some stuff with New Japan and Access as well. Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, had their New Year's show. We're going to review both of Noah the New Year 2025, in addition to the All Japan Pro Wrestling Zenichi New Year's show from December 31st. In both those shows, new Triple Crown champion in All Japan and a new GHC heavyweight champion in Noah. So a lot going on there. And then, of course, preview Wrestle Dynasty, Wrestle Kingdom coming up this weekend. New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 19 from the Tokyo Dome, January 4th, and then of course, Wrestle Dynasty, also from the Tokyo Dome on January 5th. And also, should note before we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the show, instant reaction live for both of those shows. So immediately following Wrestle Kingdom 19 should be roughly, 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Eastern, somewhere in that realm is when Wrestle Kingdom will end, and we will go live immediately following that. And then later that day, actually, I guess we'll probably go live on Sunday, but later that day, Wrestle Dynasty starts. Now, Wrestle Dynasty starts at, and I'll reiterate this when we actually preview the show. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Wrestle Dynasty starts at 11 p.m. Eastern. So some people might not know that. Some people might be thinking it's like Wrestle Kingdom, because Wrestle Kingdom starts at 3 a.m. Eastern on January 4th. But on the same day, technically, Wrestle Dynasty is going to happen for us here in America. At 11 p.m. Eastern, Wrestle Dynasty starts. So that show will be wrapped up by like 1 or 2 a.m. Eastern, at probably 2 a.m. Eastern at the latest, right? I would assume it's around there, maybe 3 a.m. Eastern, somewhere around there. But when that show wraps up, we are also going to be going live, $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. So if you're listening to this on the free podcast app, whatever podcast app you're using, the free feed for the Flagship, that's good. But if you're going to want to listen to the Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty instant reaction lives, our thoughts, the best post pay-per-view show in the business, instant reaction live, you're going to want to get on that $10 tier at flagshippatreon.com. And we're going to go live again immediately following both of those shows. None of this 3 p.m. bullshit that other people do. None of this, the next day. No. Live, immediately following the shows, both nights, January 4th, January 5th.
Yeah, and then, of course, we're pretty locked in, right? All right, can we announce this or what?
Yeah, do it. Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
So the Raw debut on Netflix will also be an instant reaction live. I know I've locked it in on my side. Are we locked in over on the Crate side here for that?
We're good. We're good. Yeah.
If you get on the $10 tier
I just have
now,
to do the money sign. I just do the money sign, and then that's enough for the nurse. I'm like,
you rub your finger. You rub your thumb with the
she
index.
goes, all right.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. You do the double. Get the thumbs with the index and middle fingers and rub both hands up in the air and say, and basically you tell her to go in a dark room and read a book with a candle. That's how it works. And she accepts that. So if you sign up now, you on the $10 tier, you're getting at least 3 instant reaction lives in the next couple of days. And then who knows what else over the 30 days of that. Plus, you can go back and listen to the World's End instant reaction live from a couple of days ago. And really on that $10 tier, you can get access anything we've ever done in the 6-year history. I mean, we've been on Patreon for like 6 years at this point.
Well, I guess the Hammerstein show too, isn't that coming up in January? We've talked about doing the Hammerstein show for GCW.
We'll see. I don't know if that's going to be an instant. We'll cover it. Will that be an instant reaction? As it gets closer, we'll make a decision on that.
And, that's Sunday, January 19th is that one. So that's a pending. That's very much a pending, because I think it could be fun, but could also be like, oh God, we stayed up, watched this stupid show and did this stupid show for a show that we knew was going to suck, and it sucked. And it might not suck. It was fun. It was a fun suck the first time. It might not be a fun suck the second. Who knows? But that I am banking on it being a fun suck. So that is my intention. On
a fun suck, you say?
Yes,
a fun suck, you say?
yeah.
Those are the only kind, my friend. Those are the only kind. That's not true, actually. That's actually not true. If you want to take it all the way back to a 2013 style show, I can tell you about some non-fun sucks that I've experienced. But,
sucks that you did that were done to you.
Any man that tells you there's no such thing as a non-fun suck hasn't had many sucks. I can tell you that right now. But let's wait for the third hour for those tales. But yes,
let's wait for the third hour after we wasted a half an hour talking about farts. Yes. Let's wait till the third hour. But you're right, farts are that's PG. The fart segment was PG at best. So we're good.
I think in a man's adolescence or teen years, or as you're coming of age, I think we all experience a girl that takes blowjob literally, right?
Oh yeah.
A
little too.
Did you ever have like a corn on the cob experience with a lady?
Thankfully, no. No, that sounds awful.
I had a couple of those. I mean, I thought one was enough, and it's like, what are we doing down there? You a chipmunk? I mean, what's
take
happening?
it easy. Take it easy down there.
Jeez. You know, you want to lather it in butter? It's not corn on the cob. What are we doing here? I mean, I see what you're going for, but
it ain't working.
No,
yeah.
let's just
let's
stick
with the classics. Let's stick with the classics. Yeah.
Let's stick with the basic techniques and maybe get back to that after you gain some more XP points here. You know what I'm saying? But yes, what is this show? I don't even know what this show is. But listen, here's the other thing. Last week we didn't have a show, okay, and we did, I don't know, about 1,000 hours of audio behind the paywall because we were both feeling guilty that we didn't have a flagship, right? I think that's kind of the mindset that goes into that.
Of course.
And on top of that, we want to keep everybody up on the world of wrestling through our eyes. So, you know, I just want to let people know, if they get in on that $10 tier, you're going to get all that $5 tier for, content from last week. This is the short list of promotions that Rich and I covered last week behind the paywall, between Flagship Plus and Dynamite reviews, written content, and everything else. This is not even, this is an incomplete list of promotions that were covered last week, which was Christmas week, by the way, right? So here we go. WWE, ROH, Michinoku Pro, TNA, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, NWA, NOAH, MLW, All Japan, Stardom, Freedoms. Should I keep going? I mean, that's not even a full list. You know, so behind the paywall right now, just last week alone, we covered over a dozen different promotions and kept up with the world of wrestling that way. The Flagship Plus is our supplemental flagships that we do over the course of the week with overflow topics that don't make the main show because we burn an hour talking about farts and bad blowjobs. So that content ends up behind the paywall in the $5 tier. So really is a ton of content back there. One other thing I want to squeeze in as we wrap up this commercial and then get into the show. I want to thank everybody because this was by far our most successful year yet. So I know the new year just crossed a couple of days ago, but you know, somehow it keeps growing despite awful podcasts like the one you're listening to right now. And we had by far our most successful year, especially behind the paywall. So I want to thank everybody for that. We must be doing something right. We don't advertise. We don't bother with social media. It's really just all grassroots and word of mouth. So it's not just that you guys are subscribing and consuming the content and listening to the flagships, the free flagships, paying for the paywall stuff. Somehow, you know, I think you know you guys are helping to contribute, spread the word. The gifting has been a hit. A lot of people have gifted subscriptions over the last few weeks since we've rolled that out. So, you know, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, and I don't want it to sound like, you know, we're patting ourselves on the back or anything. I'm thanking everyone who's listening because I feel like we do this every year now around this time of year where, oh, now this is the biggest year we've ever had. And this one was again. So, you know, hopefully we keep doing stuff that you guys like and I get to do this little speech again next year at this time. So.
That'd be great. Absolutely. Thank you all for subscribing, supporting, and then, yeah, like you said, spreading the word. I think that spreading the word is super, super important, especially, like you said, we don't do social, we don't advertise, we don't do a whole lot of stuff. It's mostly just word of mouth, grassroots, and putting the content out there and letting people share it and consume it and find it however they may, and spreading that word is super, super important in that. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Right. So where do you want to go right into the Wrestle Kingdom previews, or do you want to do the quick hitter topics where we talk about the content and the contract season?
I think we should start Wrestle Kingdom. But first, let's take a look at the poll. So early returns, 23% have seen a Thea Hale match. 77% have not. Now I will say this. I think this is the live chat of the paid version of the show.
These are the freakazoids it's the hardcore.
These are the absolute fucking sickos before AEW mangled the term. I mean, these people are nuts. So this is, I think the percentage of yes would be a little higher if we opened it up to just listeners of the show in general, but I don't think it'd be significantly higher. So it looks like we would land somewhere between my estimate and your estimate. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a combination of our listeners don't really dig NXT and Thea Hale just doesn't wrestle that much.
Right. A little combo of both. Yeah, we'll check in later. I doubt there's going to be a groundswell of Thea Hale watchers coming in anytime soon, but we'll check in every hour we'll check in with the poll and see where we're at. So let's start with Wrestle Kingdom here. Obviously coming January 4th from the Tokyo Dome, as I said, again, 3 a.m. Eastern start time. Now, I believe that's for the pre-show. I had somebody in the chat room say, is that for the pre-show or the main show? I believe that is the pre-show. I don't know when the quote-unquote main show is supposed to start. But with that said, you're going to maybe want to watch this pre-show a little bit. Now, normally the Rambo, they can't even decide what to call it, if it's Rambo or Ranbo. Basically, their Battle Royal thing that they do on the pre-show for all these Wrestle Kingdoms has some more stakes this year because it is going to be for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title contendership. So you can become the number one contender for the world title by winning this Rambo match. So that gives it a little bit of stakes. So yeah, I don't know the difference of when the pre-show starts to when the main show starts. I would probably say about an hour. That Rambo always takes a little while, but this is going to be a pretty important Rambo. So I'd say you might want to check in at some point, 3 a.m. Eastern, somewhere around that, 3:30 Eastern, if you can, somewhere around there, because I think this Rambo is going to be a relatively important one. Now, the problem is that the Rambo it takes forever, and it's not that fun. Like, people pretend it's fun, but it's really not that fun. The first year, because it was a novelty, and it was like, haha, Scott Norton, but lately they haven't had many like novelty guys in it, so it's basically just everybody that's not on the main show showing up and doing kind of not a very good battle royal. So I don't think they're very entertaining. They go like 45 minutes, so I'm not always the biggest Rambo fan, but this one will certainly be, at least at the end, I will be interested to check out. But what are your take? I forget if you're a Rambo guy or not. Not first, not Stallone, the Rambo like as in the New Japan Rambo. I should.
No, I'm not an action movie guy. I like it for what it is. I think we've seen other companies copy it now, and they're way worse. like didn't know what do one the other night. Oh my
god, yeah. All Japan did one too, and they're all bad.
Yeah, most bad. It's so bad.
Most Japanese battle royals are awful, just
they're
terrible.
Really bad. Yeah.
Most battle royals. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, most battle royals are awful. WWE figured out a formula thanks to Pat Patterson that the Royal Rumble wasn't that bad, and AEW's done an okay job with their different battle royal gimmicks that they've done, but most battle royals stink, and the Japan ones are really bad. Yeah, Japan never mastered the battle royal. That's for sure. They're now, to be fair, they never take them that seriously. It's always usually like a lot of comedy or just a gimmick at the start of a card, and All Japan usually does one at the start of the year as tradition. And but the Rambos, I mean, this isn't the first time it'll have stakes. Didn't they attach other title shots to them? Yeah, it was like the King of Pro Wrestling title and stuff. Yeah. This one at least has like the fact that the actual main title will be on the line. But with that said, we don't know who's in it just yet, so that could also change.
What about the year Elgin won? Didn't he earn like a never title shot or something when he won it, or was there nothing attached to that?
I forget. That seems right, but I don't know if that's actually. I don't remember.
Yeah. Remember he randomly just jumped in our DMs to tell us he was winning that and he was mad about it? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
He was mad. He's mad as he was left off the card, but he told us he told us the entire layout of the Rambo and like how he was winning it and how he still wasn't happy about that. It was
very weird.
Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, cool.
I remember you being like, "No, man, I'm kind of disappointed. I kind of wanted to watch the Rambo and see what happened."
Right?
It's just like
it's weird. Like we weren't even talking to him. He just popped in the DMs and
said, "That's bullshit. I'm winning the Rambo. I'm
eliminating
this guy, this guy, and this guy."
Right? Yeah.
Like, oh.
Like, where's this coming from? Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but
wouldn't be the first or the last very weird Michael Elgin DM, but yeah,
just a chatty guy, he's talkative, and we were hardly the only ones either. I don't think,
no.
But so yeah, they've had stakes attached to it before. I just don't. What do you think about attaching a world title shot to it? I mean, it can't be some schlub that comes out of the thing, right?
No. It's got to be someone real. Yeah, it's got to be some. But I'm also thinking of. I have this weird thing where I was trying to go through, and then my brain just kind of fried, and I couldn't really figure it out. Of like who's not on the main show that could be in the Rambo that'd be a worthy, title challenge.
Well, what I'm saying is, while we're watching it, you can instantly eliminate. Like 90% of the people that are going to be in it, which is a little different than most years. So And the last few years, they done it where it was like there were 4 winners because then they would move on to a Rambo match later in the
show. It'd be the top 4. And I don't know if that's happening again this time. I forget if that's actually happening, but there is one name.
Just a straight winner.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just a straight winner. The one thing I am a little worried about is there is one name that is not on the main show that I'm a little nervous about winning this thing, and it's Sonata. Right, he's a guy.
You just found your winner, sir.
Sonata and Taichi are the two that I when I went through my list of who are reasonable winners that are not on that main show, those were the two that came up to me immediately. Now, there's probably somebody I'm missing. Yeah. Like I said, I was trying to do the exercise, and I was just like, this is taking too long. But Taichi and Sonata were two that came to my mind. Sonata was the first one where I was like, Sonata's not on the show. Because we always talk about he is the perfect like first title defense or continued title defense. If Umino wins it, you could absolutely see a Shota Umino versus Sonata match at New Beginning or whatever, right? That just seems, or Zack Sabre Jr. does another shot, it goes against Sonata. You could see both those, right? Those don't seem implausible. Taichi would be similar too. I think you could do Taichi
Sonata
too.
Winning. Yeah, I can see Sonata winning. Sure. Who else isn't on the card? Ishii is not on the card.
Yeah, but
they don't push him though.
No.
Let's see. You got all the third generation olds who might pop up. Your Kojimas and Tenzans.
That would rock. I don't think they're going to do that. I would like give it to Yuji Nagata or whatever because that'd be cool as fuck. But they're not going to do that.
Who else is missing from the card?
I think you have Goto, but they don't do that really with Goto. They should, but they don't. And I think you have Yoshihashi, but that would be.
But see, you have to have some of those guys in there if you're going to have a world title shot. So I can see why. I can't completely discount Goto. I would Yoshihashi can't win.
No.
But I can't completely discount Goto. You could build something at New Beginning around Goto's, what would it be, his 10th attempt? Just this kind of a defense that everyone knows the champion's going to win. You have to have some of those over the course of the year. So yeah, I think Sonata, Taichi, you give Goto a non-0% chance. Maybe they're planning some big surprise entry that ends up winning the thing.
That seems weird to pack something like that onto the pre-show, though. That's my only other hesitation on, because I agree. There's like, there might be some guy that we're not even thinking of, but it's like it happens on the pre-show and the building's like half full or whatever. You don't necessarily want someone like a big name really on there.
I hear you, but the AEW people are in town. It's. I guess a lot is dependent on who wins the main event, which I don't mean to jump ahead, but I think Zach is winning the main event. I think if Amino wins the main event, well, then why didn't he just win G1 and beat Naito at Wrestle Kingdom? It's like, if for whatever reason, if Amino wins, what they're telling us is we didn't want him beating Naito directly, so we used Zack Sabre Jr. as a transitional champion.
Yeah.
But then the question becomes with that, why? Because wouldn't it be more impactful for Amino if he's going to win to beat Naito than to beat a transitional champion, Zack Sabre Jr.? Because Zack Sabre Jr. does not feel like any kind of hot champion or anything.
He does not. No. He feels very cold going into this. As cold as Umino is, Sabre feels super, super cold too. He does not feel like a hot or like a worthy champion. And that's a big reason why we were so surprised that they were going with the main event of this. And always from, months before they announced it said Naito and Hiromu has to be like the semi-main, right? That's clearly what they're going to be building towards. And it got kind of close. It got kind of to the point where I was like, maybe they're not doing Naito and Hiromu, and they wait until the last hour to do it. And then obviously with the World Tag League and the they win the World Tag League and then decide, you know what, fuck that, let's just face each other instead. And then it was like, okay, yeah, we because that was the match that you and I we talked about this 5 months ago, 6 months ago, when before, when right after the G1 and right when Sabre won it at Power Star or whatever he wanted at King of Pro Wrestling, when he won at King of Pro Wrestling, we were saying, well, Naito and Hiromu's got to be on the card then, right? Because they're not going to be main eventing this thing with Zack Sabre Jr. No matter who, we didn't even know who his opponent was going to be at that time. You know what I mean? We were just like, there's no way they're main eventing it with Zack Sabre Jr. because it doesn't feel like they have enough confidence in him to be that guy. And then when it was Umino, it was like, oh, okay, well now we know that Naito and Hiromu was going to be announced, and it took forever to get there, but it's there, and that makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, they didn't do. I don't know that they did a great job of building up this world title match or building up Zack Sabre Jr. as like a real worthy champion, and that's hard to do when he just won it, 4 or 5 months ago and has no defenses. A couple defenses.
I forget that he has it. Like I sometimes I forget. Like I have to think for a second. Who's the? Oh yeah, it's Zack Sabre Jr. It's not any kind of hot title run. He doesn't feel like. So that's kind of my point. If this was going to be Shota Uminu's crowning moment, I feel like it would have been smarter to just have him beat Naito, especially since now we know Naito's working the show. It would have been a whole nother thing if Naito was all banged up and taking a few months off, but he's not. He's working the show. Maybe it's more, all right, we know that Shota Umino in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom is not going to sell any tickets. We know that the one money match we have is Naito and Hiromu, so we have to take the title off Naito because we have to do Naito Hiromu on the 4th. So maybe that's why they've taken this path, assuming Umino wins. But anyway, I don't think he's going to win. I think Zach will win. But, it'd be a bold move to have Shota win. We just saw All Japan put their title on Jun Saito, and we just saw Noah put their title on a guy returning from excursion, right? And we're going to talk about both of those matches later. New Japan hasn't done a bold move like that in over a decade when they did it with Okada. And both of those other moves for those other companies feel like they have a chance to inject some life into those promotions. And I'm not crazy about Shota Umino at all. I'm not excited about this match in the least. I am not looking forward to Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino. I have no interest in it, really. I mean, I'm kind of... It's not like I don't want to watch it. I'm just indifferent on it. It's the match that's going to end the show. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious about the finish. But maybe they will get bold and put the title on him. I just don't feel like they will, because to me it's illogical, and you should have just had him beat Naito. It would mean more.
I'm not feeling that way either. And have you watched the Korakuen tag, the 12-23 match yet?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, did that improve your thoughts on this match?
Great match. I mean, I really enjoyed the match. I like the match, but if you're asking me if I feel like Shota Umino feels like he's ready to be a world champion of the 3rd biggest company on the planet, my answer is no.
No, and that was going to be my point, is that after that match, even if there was some thought to them that, hey, this guy is the guy we're going to give the title to, he and I didn't hate his performance. I thought he was good in the match, but like I said on audio when I reviewed it on Flagship Plus, he was the 4th most impressive guy in that entire match. I mean, I don't know how you saw that match and it concluded and you not think Oiwa has more potential to be a tippy-top guy. And then you're also just like, let's fucking give the title to Ishii. Why isn't Ishii going for the title? Let's do Ishii and Zack Sabre Jr. at the main event of the Tokyo Dome, right? When that match is over, you're like, the match you were least looking forward to out of all the combinations of those people was Zack and Umino. I was more looking forward to Ishii and Zack. I was more looking forward to Ishii and Oiwa. And I was just like, yeah, those are the matches I really want to see. And then, Umino and Sabre is our main event. It's just, I don't know that you came away from that match. I don't know how you could come away from that match saying, all right, Umino is ready for this spot. Let's go. Even if he was okay in the match. Even if I thought he was okay in the match.
I'm not saying that Shota can't be a big star or won't ever be a big star. Okay? That's what I'm going to preface this with. But if I had to gamble on Shota Umino, Yota Tsuji, or Rohei Oiwa, let's stick to those 3 for now, because Ren Narita, I don't think anyone takes him seriously as a top guy anymore. But let's just stick with those 3 and leave everybody else out of it. If I had to gamble, Shota would be my 3rd choice if I had to put meaningful money on it. Assuming they all get equal opportunity, because that's not guaranteed either. They might believe in Shota Umino more for some reason, and he might get more. He's clearly getting more opportunity now. He's in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, right? But if you told me they were all going to get equal opportunity, I would put Oiwa number 1, Tsuji number 2, and Shota number 3 in terms of who I would think could become a real top drawing star. And I would say that Tsuji is the closest right now. I'd say Tsuji is the closest right now. I think a push with him would take, honestly. I think a push with him would take right now. But I think Oiwa has the highest ceiling of the 3. But that doesn't mean that Shota Umino can't become a big C. He could. I mean, I don't know. I'm not totally discounting him, but he'd be number 3. He'd be behind both of those guys for me.
Yeah, would you probably? And now, obviously, he's out with injury, so it's hard to say. But Uemura is obviously when he comes back too. He's a guy that I think the world.
He's a player. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd put him ahead of Umino too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have him 3rd, and I'd have Umino 4th. And Ren Narita, I don't even consider.
No, he's out. No, he's out of the no. He's out of the picture. Yeah, yeah, he's not worthy of discussing in that same on that same ilk. But yeah, when you bring it up, the way that you phrased it there, I think is the best way to put it. Is yes, this week, and we're going to talk about these shows coming up in a little bit. Noah put their title on a guy who's had one match back from excursion or whatever, and basically relative unknown for the most part, but they've vaulted him up to the top, and he won the title right out of the gates, and he's leading a stable or a big part of a stable. Like, yeah, they got risky with the guy and said, fuck it, this is the guy, we're going to push the hell out of him and see where it takes. And All Japan did the same thing. Jun Saito, okay, you know what, fuck it, Jun Saito was our champion, let's see what works. He's been in a tag team, maybe it's time for him to break out on his own as a single. Like, those were very risky moves by both Noah and All Japan, but Noah and All Japan, they have the wiggle room to make those big giant risks. Does New Japan, you phrased it there, are you ready for Umino to be the number 1 champion in the 3rd biggest company in the world?
Those promotions don't have as much to lose.
Right.
Is basically what. And New Japan didn't have as much to lose in 2012 or whatever year that was when Okada came back. So, we all know Gato is a super conservative booker, and he's slow. He's very slow to do things. But at the same time, there have been times where he's been bold, whether it's been Okada, whether it's been total belief that AJ Styles was going to take and work in New Japan, which, in hindsight, for people who weren't there in real time, because they saw, other Americans later on, whether it was Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay or whatever. But in real time, AJ Styles was not any kind of sure thing, and he did get rejected at first.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wrote about that last year, or maybe 2 years ago when I did it on our Patreon, and going back and listening to old flagships and going back and reading old observers and going back and reading old reviews. And everybody was like, dude, I don't know. Like, people don't realize where AJ was at that time, and people don't realize what it felt like that this guy from TNA, this failure from TNA, because that's what AJ was at that time. Here was the guy that was a big time deal in TNA for a long time, and then he had just kind of failed for a while, and he was just kind of fluttering, and then TNA basically said,
bad gimmicks.
A lot of bad gimmicks. He had the fake Flair gimmick. He had the Clear Lynch thing. Like, it was the days of the the days of like the AJ Styles, the phenomenal TNA wrestler, like, those were very much in the past at that point. I mean, he was still a good worker.
They had run out of, he was a good worker, but they had run out of ideas for him, and he wasn't having like these crazy, mind-blowing matches.
Right.
We'd seen the whole playbook at that point. They had run out of ideas for him, and his career was really running out of steam. And Gato gambled on him, and it didn't get over at first, but eventually he stuck with it, and it did. And it was risky, but it worked. And then that kind of opened the door for all of the gaijin that followed after that, in that sort of, what do you want to call it? The leader in a Bullet Club position or whatever, the lead foreigner in the Bullet Club and all the guys that came after or whatever. But, and even with someone like Ospreay later on, but it's, so there are examples where Gato did get aggressive with people. 2025 is, and this is an aggressive move, putting him in the main event. I mean, even if he doesn't win, it's aggressive, because we were all like, what? This guy is in the main event, right? And it's very clear that they're banking on Naito and Hiromu to sell the tickets. That's very obvious that that's the real main event. Okay, no matter, the world title match is going on last, but the main event of this show is Naito and Hiromu for business purposes. For the purposes that matter, okay? But, it's a bold move just putting them there. It would be an even bolder move to have them win. And I just don't feel like they're going to do that, and I'm not sure how it would get over if they did. But I do think 2025 has to be the year where Gato does put his foot on the gas a little with these guys and start making some bold moves. I mean, we've been ranting around. I mean, you've been ranting about this for 2 years. It's time to get bold with some of these guys and see if they can fill some of these spots, because it's dire underneath. David Finley's never getting there. Okay? He's a guy who is a good worker, who happens to be someone who has never left. And I to me, what David Finley is he is season 6, part 2 of The Sopranos, when everybody else is dead and Tony promotes Bobby Bacala because he's the last one left. That's what David Finley is, and that's why he got pushed, because everybody else is gone. Okay? He doesn't have the charisma to be a top guy. And as far as the native guys, they're all very old. I mean, we just went through them. Half of them aren't even booked on the show, and you can't push them anymore at this point. I mean, you can't get behind a Hiroki Goto push or a Taichi push or a, Sonata. They tried that. It didn't really work. He's never going to be the guy. Look, it has to be this next generation of guys. Naito's out there with 2 knee braces. He's getting eye surgeries every other month. He's completely finished. I mean, he's on fumes. There's nothing left. It has to be this generation of guys, and it has to be now. You can't wait around another year. You can't. And, and we'll see with Zach. I think Zach is fine for now until you identify one of these guys. Zach is not the long-term answer either. Zach Sabre Jr. is not a long-term answer. He just isn't. He's a guy there who, and look, if that doesn't tell you that David Finley's never going to be a top guy, they put it on Sabre, not Finley, right? It's like Finley got this big push, as leader of his own subunit, and he's sitting there dealing with the secondary title, and they put the world title on the guy, on Zack Sabre Jr. instead. So, and Zach's not the answer. So yeah, whether it's Shota on this show or whether it's we start to put the pedal on the gas for Oiwa or Tsuji right now, and who knows what they were going to do with Uemura if he hadn't gotten hurt. They got to get aggressive this year with these guys. So am I going to be like, I'd like to see Shota win this match. Just my curiosity.
Just a shock to the system. Just a shock to the system. It might be worth it just to go shock to the system and go for it. I don't have what is your feeling on that happening? I don't see that happening. I don't know why. I mean, for whatever reason, I just don't. I can't in my heart of hearts believe that that's the way they're going to go.
No, I don't think he's going to win. I don't. But I kind of hope he wins. I like Zack Sabre Jr., but again, this doesn't feel like any kind of great run that is anyone really thinking, I don't want to see this Zack Sabre Jr. title run end? It hasn't been notable at all.
Right, he had the Shingo match.
That's not entirely his fault.
No, it's not his fault. They just don't have that many guys for him to go against. I mean, he went against
time of year to have the title.
Right, he went against Sonata and he went against Shingo, and now we're here. So he got the title at a late period. It's pretty tough when you get the title.
Always a slow time.
Yeah,
during Tag League. He had the title during Tag League and fucking December when nothing ever happens around that belt. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's no fault of his own, but I don't know. I don't feel like Shota will win, but I'm curious. It's the more interesting choice though.
Definitely, yeah. And as Chris Samsa writes in the chat room right now, Zack Sabre Jr. to be the 3rd foreign-born wrestler to win a Tokyo Dome main event and the first since Lesnar in 2006.
Yeah, which is why it's like such a weird match when we all found out this was going to be the match.
Right.
A guy who no one really is sure whether they're ready or not, and a brand new foreign world champion who hasn't exactly had some great legendary title run that feels hot coming in. It's a very strange world title match for this show.
Very. Naito and Hiromu, obviously the semi-main event. I mean, there's people that are really anticipating this. You and I have both talked about it in the past. Like LIJ stuff doesn't really land with me the same way it lands with people that obviously are more invested in LIJ. So Do I think it'll be fine? I think so. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I haven't been interested in Hiromu in years. And Naito, it's kind of hard to get interested in Naito. I'm sure he'll step it up to whatever degree he could still step it up. But can I say that I'm like, hotly anticipating Hiromu versus Naito? Not really. I would assume that, it'd be a good idea to have Hiromu win this match. I think there's some value in that. But yeah, ultimately, like, I think it'll be fine. But I don't know. My interest level in Hiromu versus Naito is pretty low. So I'm maybe not the best person to preview this. But I feel like you're probably similar as me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not invested in LIJ and never really have been, but look, you really wish they would have done this match before Naito was shot. It seems like though they were saving it for a rainy day, and right now it's pouring, right? So it seemed like the right call now in hindsight, because if they would have burned this off on one of the anniversary shows like we thought they should have, various times over the years or whatever, they wouldn't have it. They'd still have the match, but they wouldn't have the first time aspect of it, which is what's the selling point. The whole selling point of this is the first time. So that's, whoever's call that was. And, credit always goes to the public facing booker, and that would be Gato. Then that ended up being the right call. I mean, you can't knock it, because this is where they needed to pull this match they were saving out of the holster for a Wrestle Kingdom lineup that is not a money lineup without it.
Right. And needed to sell some tickets and needed to get people in the building. And this match is getting people in the building, and it is selling tickets, even though it does feel like it's like 4 or 5 years out of date. You know what I mean? It feels like this match would have had so much more impact for, if you're trying to do Hiromu graduating to be a heavyweight, I would have done that, 5 years ago, but they're doing it now in 2025, maybe. And it feels like Hiromu's not what Hiromu used to be, and Naito is obviously not what Naito used to be. So it's like we're getting a match that 5-6 years ago would have been really, really cool and really interesting and really fun. And I feel like I don't have that same enthusiasm for it. Well, yes, it is cool that it's a first-time matchup. I don't have enthusiasm because I don't really think Hiromu is I don't know if he's very good anymore, to be honest. I haven't really liked a lot of the output that I've seen from Hiromu. And Naito is Naito. Like, he still steps up in big moments, but god damn, like you said, the guy's wearing 2 knee braces and just got eye surgery. It's like we're looking at a man who is falling apart, quite literally falling apart in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, it is Wrestle Kingdom, though, and I think that they're capable of having a great match. And it wouldn't shock me at all if they had a great match.
Not at all. Yeah, I would not be stunned if this is the best match of the entire night. I just don't have an anticipation level for that, if that makes sense.
I don't have any anticipation level for it. If this match happened 5 years ago, it'd be a lock for a great match. It'd be the ceiling would be match of the year caliber. I don't know if they could reach those kind of heights, but I think Naito understands the side that it's Wrestle Kingdom, and it's one of the biggest matches he's going to have for the rest of his career at this point. There's no doubt about that. I think they both recognize that. And Hiromu can still be great. He isn't great as consistently as he used to be. The guy was a fucking sicko. And how old is he now? He's got to be in his 30s.
I think he's well into his 30s. That's I think he's not as young as people think he is. I think he's 36, 35. Yeah,
he's in his 35 years old. He did a lot of sick shit and had a lot of great matches, and he's another guy who I think saves it. I think, he's at the point in his career where he saves it. You can't blame him. But this is why you save it, right? This is where a Naito digs down deep and tries to have the best performance of the year. This is where a Hiromu says, okay, this is going to be one of the half dozen matches this year where I let it fly. And so I think they're very capable of having a great match. It could also completely fall off the rails, because when it comes to Naito right now, we've all seen it. It can get messy. I've been shouting that he should have worked to establish a new finisher. Now that the Destino, every time he tries to do the Destino, and it's not just that he does the Destino, he does 19 different variations of it. Mm-hmm. And it's never, even when he was in his prime, it was a difficult move that looked like a struggle to pull off and looked sloppy half the time.
Right. Now he had to hit it perfectly against the perfect opponent. And when it landed,
it looked like shit.
Yeah, when it all worked, it looked great, but it looked like shit a lot of the time. And
a lot of the time, even when he was good.
Right.
Now that he's older and washed up, it never looks good, and half the time it's a botch. He should have spent the last year and a half establishing something else as his
learn from his mentor, Great Muta. Great Muta realized, those boot salts aren't working anymore, man. I'm not getting something new. Yeah.
Look at Tanahashi when he all of a sudden started using the cloverleaf.
Yeah, right.
Like it's you don't even have to look all the way back to Muto. You could just look at Tanahashi, who's right here on this roster, who was tired of doing 6 high fly flows per match on his fucking knees when he hit 40, and he established the cloverleaf, and he got it over. He had that match against Okada in the Dome that was built around it. That was built around weakening Okada's legs, and he had won so many matches with the cloverleaf in the 6 months prior that people were popping for it in the Wrestle Kingdom match. That's what Naito should have done. He should have established something that's easier on his body, some kind of submission move, I really felt that's the route he should have taken, but just so the point is the match could easily fall off the rails if he starts throwing those sloppy ass destinos that just fall apart, that we've seen that happen, and not just once or twice, like it happens a lot with him now. But I think that, you're talking about two guys who at their peaks were all-time great wrestlers. They're capable of having a great match. I'd be like you. I'd be way more into it if it happened years ago. It's happening now. It ended up being the right business call to hold off on it. So from that standpoint, they're very lucky they have this match. I have no idea where they would have turned on this show if they didn't have this match. Where are they turning for something to sell some tickets?
Fuck, Tanahashi doing something else, I guess. But where do you slot him in at his current body?
I don't know what you would have done.
No.
This was it. So they were, I guess, very smart to hold off on it. But as I said, they saved it for a rainy day, and it's a fucking monsoon out there. It's a deluge.
This
is when they needed it.
It's tsunami out there for sure. David Finlay, Yota Tsuji, IWGP Global Heavyweight title. David Finlay obviously defending that title against Yota Tsuji. I think it's a good time to move that title over to Yota Tsuji. Like you said, I think if you're thinking about bold thoughts and moving guys up and whatnot, this is a very good opportunity, I think, to get Tsuji, that a run with the title that's not necessarily you're not putting the pressure of a world title on him, but you're giving him a secondary title and saying, hey, run with this and see what you can do. Like, that's the way I would go. I mean, I don't know if that's the way they're going, but I think it's time. We're definitely at time to try out some sort of Yota Tsuji push in some direction.
I mean, if it's my call, he's winning this match. I mean, Finlay is a veteran guy who's a good worker, who is capable of having good matches. And, again, one of the last men standing, so it was time for him to get his push now that everybody else is gone. My fear here is that he could lose up, and they might move him into the world title scene. I don't think he has the necessary charisma to be a top star. I don't think you're ever going to draw money with David Finlay. But, obviously between the two, and there might not even be a big age difference between these guys, actually. But in terms of exposure to the fans, David Finlay's been around a decade, and he is what he is, and he has long since hit his ceiling. Yota Tsuji is obviously, someone who has the potential to be an unexposed, next top guy. So
they're both 31 for the record.
Yeah. So, Finlay just got started when he was a teenager, and he's been with New Japan since the mid-20-teens, 2015 or 2016 Super Junior is when they brought him in, somewhere around there. So he's been around a decade. But Tsuji feels fresh because, he's 2 years removed from being a young lion.
Yeah.
But now is time. It's time to do it. So it'd be pretty stupid for Finlay to just hit him in the back of the head with the shillelagh and fucking win again. It's 2025. It's been years now with some of these guys. We either believe in them or we don't. And if we don't believe in Yota Tsuji, okay, but then show me you believe in someone else. Right? So, he should win. I hope he wins. And, I guess we'll see.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, Dookie defending the title against El Desperado. I will definitely recommend you check out Jay Michaels' part of the preview at voicesofwrestling.com. Wrestle Kingdom 19 preview and predictions. Jay Michael, a guy who writes so many more words about El Desperado than anybody else on earth has ever done. And another long detailed explanation of how this match came together and all the little rigmarole of this match and all the details of it is all available there in Jay Michaels' preview, again at voicesofwrestling.com. For me, it's like, yeah, that'll be a pretty fun match. And, I've seen Desperado in that spot a lot. My only hope is, and I don't know where you stand on this, Joe, I want Dookie to get the win here because I think that'd be a really, really cool moment for Dookie to go in here because I think we all expect what we want versus what we expect might be different in this match. I think a lot of us, myself included, probably expect Desperado to win because it just feels fitting that, okay, Dookie, you got your little run, but it's time for Desperado to win the title back. But I would love it if Dookie just beat this guy in the Tokyo Dome because what a cool moment that would be for Dookie, the guy who, is not that many years removed from just working in the dingiest, smallest places on earth in professional wrestling, and now he's here in the Tokyo Dome defending the title and winning the title and retaining the title in the Tokyo Dome. Like, I would love that moment for him. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go, but yeah, again, from the standpoint of if I was booking this, I have Dookie win this because nobody really needs another El Desperado Junior title run. Who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares about, oh, thank God it's back on El Desperado. Great. Okay. What next? It's kind of what I think there, but
I think that every step of the way, Dookie won this title in the summer, July 5th, and I think every step of the way, with the exception of the Yoshinobu Kanemaru match, he was expected to lose it. We all thought, okay, this is a hard-working guy who came into the company, and Despy wanted to drop the title to him, and everybody likes this guy, but Taiji Ishimori's back, and he's going to win that title, right? We all thought Taiji Ishimori.
Yeah, we'll give this guy a gold watch, a gold watch in essence, and then the second a real guy's back, the real guy's going to beat him and take the title back.
Yeah, so we all thought Taiji Ishimori would win. Now, we figured he'd beat Kanemaru because they're not putting the title on Kanemaru at this stage. But then the match with Show, we're like, oh, okay, we're going to put it on
Now I
Show.
see what they're doing. Okay, now we get it. Yeah.
Jesus. And then we were all pleasantly surprised when Show didn't win the title. And then Master Wato comes back from injury, and we're like, oh, okay.
That's for Wato. Yeah, right. Yeah, we got it.
But then he survives that too, and now we're full circle, and he's back in there with Despy. And I'm with you. I would like to just see him win it because this is like the little title reign that could, like where we keep expecting him to lose, but he keeps winning. And he keeps having these good matches. But we've come full circle here, and he's facing the guy that he beat for the title, and it is Wrestle Kingdom. And I do think Despy is probably going to win, but I think it would be cool if he fucking wins again.
Yeah.
And it's like, when is this thing going to end? But he's pretty much, now look, this junior division isn't very deep, and he's kind of gone through everybody already. So, I mean, if he beats Despy, then what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to have to now that junior tag team title 4-way bullshit, that's going to sort itself out. And then I guess you can break off some of those guys. Maybe it's Kosei Fujita's time to take the next step and win a singles title or something. And, you could go down that road, but I just feel like with it being Wrestle Kingdom and him facing the guy that he beat to begin with, and the fact that they did give him a substantial run that everybody has enjoyed, right? I don't think it's one of the great IWGP Junior title runs of all time, but I've enjoyed it.
It's fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot, and for one of the reasons, like you mentioned, that the fact that every match you go into, you're like, well, it's been fun, but it's all over. Yeah, it's all over here, And then he just fucking pulls it out. He just does it. So yeah, but there've been some really good matches, and in a promotion where there's a lot of, it's hard to find a lot of passion and a lot of interest. It's Dookie has been one of the lone bright spots for me of New Japan in 2024, because it's like, yeah, motherfucker, look at this guy who nobody thought would ever get to this spot, and here he is, hard worker, came into the company when they needed him in a desperate moment, and here he is, all these many years later, not only with the title, but defending it successfully and winning his matches. Like, it was it's been a really cool thing, and a really, nice, like a genuinely nice thing to see, a genuinely like, beautiful thing to have this guy just go out there and not only win the title, but then keep retaining it. But yeah, ultimately, I think it probably ends here. But I'd be perfectly happy if it didn't end here and Dookie kept doing it. But like you said, yeah, who's he going to face next?
I think he's going to lose. I do
too. Yeah, unfortunately. Match I am looking forward to. circled as my potential match of the night. Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita. AEW International title, never openweight title. Both those on the line. I mean, that Shingo don't miss, and Takeshita has barely missed in a couple years. So, I mean, there's the floor on this thing is pretty fucking high. It's going to be time dependent because, it's what, fifth from the top or whatever. But I think these guys can go out there and have a fucking killer 15 to 20 minute match for sure.
I mean, it's my most anticipated match, and it's not even close because, I've never been less invested from an emotional level in anything happening in New Japan than I am right now over the course of the lifetime of this podcast. Now, there were times before that, of course, when New Japan has had some rough periods where I didn't give a shit what was going on in the promotion, where I've been even less invested than I am now. But over the course of this show, this has been the least invested I've ever been in New Japan. And this is just, and look, this is probably the least built match on the show, but yet it's the one I'm most interested in because it has the highest ceiling in terms of it, I know I'm going to see a great match. And there's some important stakes here. I mean, this is title for title. And I think to some degree that gives away the finish because I don't think Tony Khan signs off on this match if Takeshita is not losing right now. Because I don't even think Tony wants to have to explain why Takeshita is going to show up on AEW TV the next time without that title.
Right.
Because Takeshita is in the midst of a push. So I can't see him losing unless Shingo is coming into AEW for some kind of extended run and feud. That's the only way I see Takeshita losing. So,
which is okay with me, but I'm not. I think that's unlikely. I think that's
more
unlikely.
than okay with that. That would be fucking outstanding. Now, listen, if they have an extended series of matches in AEW or New Japan, I'm okay with it. If you want to have these guys wrestle 3 times in the first quarter of 2025, you know what? I don't know who the fuck would complain about that.
Right. Okay. I'm into that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's more than fine. But yeah, I think that does take a little bit of the juice out of it because I think Takeshita is a near lock to win. I will be pleasantly surprised if he loses, only because I really don't care who wins, number one. And I like Shingo, number 2. And number 3, it'd be a nice surprise that they did something that I didn't see coming. So I'll be rooting for Shingo, but I don't think it's time for Takeshita to lose. And I don't think Tony Khan agrees to this match if the plan was for Takeshita to lose.
Yeah,
so
I would agree.
Yeah, but I mean, it has to be the betting line favorite for match of the night. I will be very disappointed if it's not great, not good, not very good, great. If it's not great, it's a disappointment because this is 2 of the best wrestlers in the world on one of the biggest shows of the year. I expect them to have a great match. And those are the expectations. Those are the high bars that come with being the best wrestlers in the world. But look, it's not like these 2 guys haven't been in these kind of situations before.
No,
I don't have any concerns.
They've delivered time and time again. Yeah. In Shingo's case, he's been delivering for about 15 or 20 years straight. So, yeah.
Yeah, 20 years at this point. So, and Takeshita has established himself as one of the best bell-to-bell wrestlers in the business. And he has main evented big building shows before and everything else. So working, 5th from the top at, in front of 30,000 people or whatever it is, he's not going to be shook by that.
Oh, no.
And obviously Shingo, like you said. So yeah, I expect this to be great and I will accept nothing less.
Lumberjack match, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Evil. Now, obviously, Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to win this match because there's no way they're retiring Tanahashi here now in Wrestle Kingdom 19. He's going to have his whole year-long retirement tour and retire next year on the Tokyo Dome show to try to sell some tickets throughout the year and then, of course, sell tickets to next year's Wrestle Kingdom. But I think that the interest of this match will be getting some near falls that at least get the crowd excited that, oh, my God, they're going to do it. Although, yeah, I mean, my interest level in this match is pretty low just because the Evil stuff doesn't really work for me. The fact that it's a lumberjack, though, does work a bit, though, because it's like, oh, you're going to see the House of Torture guys get their comeuppance in this match. Now, if it were up to me, if I was booking this thing, this is the end of the House of Torture. You know what I mean? They get their comeuppance, Tanahashi wins, New Japan prevails in the end, and you just find something new to do with a lot of those guys. That's not going to be the case, obviously, but that's what the whole result of this match is going to be, is that the House of Torture is going to try to interfere, and the New Japan, purebred folks are going to just the Hantai guys are going to make sure that it doesn't happen, and Tanahashi's going to get the win, and hand held high, and then, bow, and I'll be back next year to conclude my career here in the Tokyo Dome on January 4th. Like, that's how we know it's going to go. But I'm interested to see how the dynamics of it work, and I think ultimately it's going to be a very fun match, even if, I'm already rolling my eyes at some of the House of Torture shit, but this is meant to be a House of Torture shit match. So it's like, and hey, it's like 6 in the top. That's fine with me. The House of Torture stuff gets me, I get annoyed of it when it's in main events or 4 titles or whatever. In a match like this, it's fine.
So we talked before about where would they turn if they didn't have Naito Hiromu for this show. It would have been Tanahashi's retirement. That would have been the hook for this Wrestle Kingdom.
Sure. Oh yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
But they're pushing it back a year. And this match is, look, if this was the main event of Destruction in Bipu or the New Beginning in Sendai or Power Struggle or whatever the fuck, you'd be watching all these 6-man tags on the undercard and some David Finlay title defense and just like, oh God, at the end of this, I have to watch Evil versus Hiroshi Tanahashi in a lumberjack match. I don't want to watch it. But it's like you just said, you put this in the middle of this card where it's just going to be House of Torture getting beat up by all the 3rd-gen guys and all of Hiroshi Tanahashi's pals. It's just going to be a fun mid-card match. I saw you kind of lose your mind when they announced it, and I remember telling you here, like, I don't know, it's just going to be silliness and fun and wacky, and we all know Tanahashi's going to win, and it's just going to be the purest baby face possible versus the purest bad guy possible who literally calls himself Evil, trying to cheat his way to retiring, one of the great icons of the history of the sport, and the good guy prevailing. And it's just going to be, I think the fans are going to be into it. I don't think anyone's going to buy for a second that he's going to lose, but I think the fans are going to immerse themselves in it and play along and be into this. And I think it's going to be a hot match. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be harmless fun. And Evil will suit his purpose perfectly here. And, Tanahashi will be in the ring with Kojima and Nagata and all those guys. And, at the end, and, it'd just be 12 minutes of wacky fun in the middle of the show. Yeah,
for sure. World TV title match here. Ren Narita defending the title. El Phantasmo added into this match. He's back from his cancer and seems to be healthy and back at it. He is added to this match along with Jeff Cobb and Rohei Oiwa. So this is a world television title here. My thought is, do you go with Phantasmo? Do you do hey, this guy's back from in a cancer win, or do you just stick with whatever your plan was going to be? Because obviously he was not supposed to be in this match until, just got kind of shoehorned here later in so I don't know if you go with Cobb or I just say
fuck
go
it.
with him.
Just put it. Just go with them. Who cares about this title?
Right. That's my thought. It's like that's a cool moment. So just go with the cool moment because nobody gives a fuck about the New Japan World TV title.
What hot plans did you have for this? I mean,
right. Jeff Cobb defeats Ren Narita. Okay, great. Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, go with Phantasmo. Go, and then
just
lose.
Tell the heartwarming story. Put the fucking title on him. And if the plan was to put it on, I don't know, Oiwa or something, do it later.
Right.
It's not a big deal. I think, he should win the match. Yeah.
I know you cannot wait to give me your big preview for this one. Mayu Iwatani defending the IWGP Women's title against Azumi. All right, what's your prediction, Joe? Where do you think this one's going? I know you're locked in on the IWGP Women's Championship, the title that you said you're not really sure that Zack Sabre Jr. is the champion. This one is the title that it's like, what in the world is this title? Why? This title is so weird. Kyrie won this thing in November of 2022. That would be a hell of a title. Kyrie won this thing in November 2022. Mercedes Moné won it at Battle in the Valley. Then she lost it to Mayu Iwatani in April of 2023 at All-Star Grand Queendom. And Mayu Iwatani has had this title for 621 days with 8 defenses. 8 defenses. So I'll give her credit there. She has defended this belt.
Where are they happening?
They are Stardom? Mostly happening. I'll give you the rundown here of where they are all happening. I think most of them are happening in Stardom. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm not even going to bother to ask you, does this have a chance to be good? I'm sure the answer is yes. But it's going to get like 8 minutes.
That's where I wanted to. I think when we talked about this match a couple of weeks ago, I said, there's a lot of people being like, oh, well, it's going to be worth the price of the show to watch Mayu Iwatani and Azumi. And it's like, okay,
I don't know.
if it's a
Don't work yourself
Stardom,
into a shoot.
if it's a Stardom main event, yeah, they're going to get 25 minutes and 20 minutes or whatever. This is ninth from the top or whatever. They're not going to get. They're going to get 8 minutes, like you said. They're going to get 8 or 9 minutes to kind of do their thing. So I wouldn't all the way anticipate that. Oh, they're going to go out there and absolutely kill it and have a big time, a match that's worthy of like a Stardom main event. Like they're probably not. They're probably going to have 8 to 12 minutes. And now it's still going to be a good match, but like you said, maybe temper your expectations a little bit on what an 8 to 12 minute match, ninth from the top is going to look like, as opposed to seeing these two names on the paper and go, whoa, yeah, this match is going to be great. Hold on. It might not have the chance to be great, but could it be?
So
yes, for sure. Who will win? Who knows?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Doesn't matter. So last year they didn't even have one. The year before, Kairi and Tam Nakano got 5 minutes and 47 seconds.
Right.
So again,
even on because I looked and there's like a New Japan New Beginning and Sapporo match or whatever that Mayu Iwatani defended. So I closed the window, so I don't know who she was against, but that match got 12, and that's probably on the high end of what these matches have had.
Right.
And what would you say that one was 2 years ago?
5 minutes and 47
Right.
seconds. And last year, they didn't even give this title a match on the show. So that's why I would, if you're a fan of Stardom or these women, you need to temper your expectations right now.
Yeah.
Don't work yourself into a shoot. Set the bar low and set yourself up to be pleasantly surprised. Hope that they get 12 minutes and double the time of the last time this title was defended on a Wrestle Kingdom show. Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be much closer to the 5 minutes and 47 seconds than the 25 minutes they would get, like Rich is saying, if they were main eventing with these same two people on a Stardom show. So that's why I'm not even going to do the usual thing of, okay, I don't usually watch and these people wrestle. Rich, can this be good? Because they're not going to get any time.
No.
They're gonna get a fraction of the time, and then, and it's not like big Japanese stars are used to working super short matches like that. Like American wrestlers work all kinds of different lengths of time because of, the nature of American television wrestling and everything. It's not easy for someone like Mayu Iwatani to go in there and have a world title match and okay, get everything in 6 minutes. They're not used to that either, Japanese wrestling. So, there's that whole aspect to it too. So yeah, I have my expectations are the floor with this because I don't think it's going to get any time.
We also have the IWGP Junior. This will be the real show opener, the a ladder match here. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title ladder match. I'm very curious how the ladder thing works in the Tokyo Dome. I know they have that little canopy that goes over the ring sometimes, so I guess it's gonna be hanging over that thing. But it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out. Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida defending the titles against Catch 22, the Ichiban Sweet Boys, and the Bullet Club War Dogs.
Ugh.
Ichiban Sweet Boys. Yeah.
God, everything got to be tongue in cheek in wrestling today. Yeah, obviously this match is fucking stupid. It totally negated an entire tour and tournament. And it's one of the worst habits that New Japan has. Just totally negating. Look, both of their tag leagues this year meant absolutely nothing.
Right.
Both of them. But this one was more egregious. You have this whole tournament, and anyone who was foolish enough to get vested in it, they just spit in their face at the end of it. Because they just got to shoehorn everyone on the show. Why not just have two separate matches then? If you really feel the need to get all these guys on the show, if Drilla Maloney really needs to be on the show, put it in a separate match. You can't just, shit on your tournament and your tour, and just make everything that everyone watched for the previous 3 weeks mean absolutely nothing. It's so insulting. And I don't know how anyone could be excited about watching a 4-way junior tag team title match open up this show. Doesn't matter who wins. And that's your fault that we think that it doesn't matter who wins, because you don't give us a chance to invest in anything, because you have this whole tour and you have a team win it and set them up and everything. And then 2 other teams can just run in and attack them and,
Right.
and get them.
After not winning the tournament.
After not winning the tournament, but now they're just in it. And it's annoying. And for that reason, it makes me not just actively not care about the match, but actively be annoyed that the match is happening. So, it's just a horrible habit that New Japan has when it comes to this stuff.
Right. What about there's going to be a ladder though, Joe? A ladder's going to be in the match. That's 1,000 ladder matches.
I mean, I don't know. I'm done with that too. So I mean, look, they're going to go out there and I'm sure they're all going to do a bunch of wild shit. And
most of the time these matches are good. Like we've had this similar rant in past years. Go back to our shows 10 years ago. We probably ranted about, shoehorning a bunch of people into, the junior title match at the opener of the show. And most of those matches are pretty good. You just wish that you could be invested in what's happening in the match. It's supposed to just like, all right, let's see what these guys do for 11 minutes. And then, all right, we're good. So
why not do the Kevin Knight and Kushida versus I don't even know who won the tournament. Was it Akira and TJP? No, it was Fujita and Eagles, right? That won the tournament?
Correct.
Right. So why not just do Knight and Kushida versus Fujita and Robbie Eagles for the tournament to pay off for the titles, to pay off the tournament, right? And then do the same angle you did with Bullet Club War Dogs and with Catch 2-2 in the mix, but just book them in a separate ladder match to determine the next number 1 contenders, right? And we'd be approaching this in a totally different way. We'd be talking about, all right, here's the team that earned the title shot. We'd be having a conversation. Do you think Fujita and Eagles can win the titles? And we'd probably say, yeah, why not? These titles don't mean that much. And then we'd be talking about, and they're having this cool ladder match underneath to determine the next set of champions. And these guys are going to kill themselves for our entertainment. And that's better than throwing everybody. But look, it's because the titles don't matter that they feel like the tour doesn't have to matter and the tournament doesn't have to matter. And all that matters is they're going to throw 8 guys in a ladder match to open up the show, American style visuals. And that's what matters here to them. So, I'm sure there'll be some fun looking stunts and everything. And, but I'm over ladder matches personally. And I'm just annoyed that they rendered an entire tour meaningless.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on it.
And that's Wrestle Kingdom. So that is the show there. Again, we'll be going live immediately following that show on January 4th. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys all there. $10 tier, instant reaction live. Our thoughts on the show, big picture thoughts as well about New Japan Pro Wrestling. And of course, this should always be a newsworthy show. All these Tokyo Dome shows are always newsworthy. So there'll be something to talk about, I'm sure, about that. Of course, we'll recap and review every single match on the show, but we'll also talk big picture stuff with New Japan as well. That'll be happening on January 4th. So that is our Wrestle Kingdom 19 preview, and instant reaction live coming this weekend as well on the $10 tier. So the next day, again, as I said, start time for Wrestle Dynasty is 11 p.m. Eastern. So it's like a normal ass time for a lot of people to watch the show. We talked about it. Pacific time, it's like a normal pay-per-view for you guys, 8 p.m. or whatever. For us on in Central time, 10 p.m. Central, that's not bad at all. And this thing should be wrapped up by, 1 a.m. Central, 2 a.m. Central, somewhere around that time.
1:30,
Yeah, it's not bad. And we'll go live immediately following that as well on the $10 tier. So the main event of this show, do we know what the main event is? The problem is they're not necessarily doing what the main event is because a lot of
Kenny Omega has to be.
I would assume that's the case, but I don't know if Zack Sabre Jr. retained the title. Do they do Zack and Ricochet as your main event since it's
that's
the IWGP title?
Yeah,
but they can't announce it as such
because
he hasn't technically retained the title. So
no, you're right, but it's the same situation as the night before where Kenny Omega's the draw.
Right. The buy your tickets to come watch Kenny Omega. So I'm gonna do that match first because that's the one that I think most people are looking forward to. Is Kenny Omega making his in-ring return against Gabe Kidd?
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to see what Kenny Omega looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he hasn't wrestled in ages, so
huge spot for Gabe Kidd too. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, you can't fuck up Kenny Omega, right? Like, you can't.
It's the biggest match of his life. Look,
yeah.
Gabe Kidd is going to be fine. I don't have any issues with his ability to have a great match, even with a 60% ability Kenny Omega. And I feel like Kenny Omega is a really proud. There's very few pro wrestlers historically less proud of their output than Kenny Omega. Obviously, that's his gimmick. His gimmick is he has good matches. So, I'm confident that Kenny Omega is going to perform. I'm confident in Gabe Kidd keeping up with him, and unless Kenny Omega and it just has such a poor physical performance that it becomes a massive news story. I'm confident that the match is going to be great. I
that would stun me too. I don't think Kenny Omega is going to step into the ring until he's 100% confident that he can go to the level that he can go. Now, obviously, there's a first time for every, and we've seen several guys that were once great, still go out there, and Kota Ibushi is a great example of a guy who cannot go anymore, but still goes out there and goes. But I think Kenny gets it more than a lot of guys. I think he would not.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, his fucking moniker, his gimmick is the best bout machine. So if he goes out there and he's out of shape and can barely work and is huffing air and can and is fucking things up left and right, that's going to be a massive red flag, and everyone's going to it's like you said, it's going to become a news story, and we're going to be on this Instant Reaction Live going, oh my god, can you believe how horrible Kenny Omega looked? Like, I think he understands that. So I would imagine and I would hope that he is as good as he could possibly be and ready to go. And I'm of the mindset that Kenny is going to be that. Like, I'll believe it when I see it to watch Kenny Omega shit the bed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bet on him ever doing that until he does it for the first time. So I feel like he's going to be in tip-top shape, and Gabe Kidd will have to, he's got all the tools to step it up and be huge in this spot too. So I'm really looking forward to this for a multitude of reasons. Like you said, we're either going to come back and say, oh my God, Kenny Omega's back, and fuck, he's back in AEW, and oh my God, this is great. Or we're going to say, woo, oh boy, he's not back. Or, it's going to be newsworthy no matter what the end result's going to be. Now, he's going to win the match, right? There's no doubt in your mind that he's winning.
Yeah, he's going to, well,
he might like to lose. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys that might say, I just came back from injury, I should lose, but
yeah, and it's Japan where you can get away with that easier too, because they almost expect you to lose when you come back. And Tony could just no sell it and never mention the match on TV. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Well, they already have done that.
Right, yeah.
They've been doing a lot of not selling Wrestle Dynasty already on AEW paper television, so wouldn't be that hard to continue not selling. And maybe that's the gimmick. Maybe that's why they don't want to tell anybody that this match is happening, because Gabe Kidd's going to win, and they're just going to pretend that it never happened. I don't know, but
yeah. So I mean, I can't say that he is 100% lock he's going to win. I mean, but it's the biggest match of Gabe Kidd's life, obviously, and. I guess we should acknowledge that, we mentioned Sabre and Ricochet, but Shota Umino and Claudio is the other option to go on last, because if Shota wins, then that'll go on last. They're going to put the title match on last. The title match that's what New Japan does.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what New Japan does. They're going to put the title match last, whatever it is. It's probably going to be Zack and Ricochet, because they already shot the angle for it and everything and all that. And that's a much more interesting match now with the Ricochet turn.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right. Could you imagine? You know where I'm going. Could you imagine if they put this IWGP World title on heel Ricochet?
Heel Ricochet with the scissors.
To bring it on Dynamite every week.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine how the New Japan fans would react?
I'm assuming they would take that well. They would they love former Best of the Super Juniors winner. Ricochet. Yeah.
It is new. Yeah. Oh my God. So that'll probably be the
God for the discourse. For the discourse, please.
For the discourse.
Please.
The fingers are crossed.
God,
the fingers are crossed. The fingers are firmly crossed.
You just made me. Now I'm going to be disappointed when Zack wins, which he should absolutely win. But now I'm going to be like,
yes.
Damn it. Because the discourse coming onto this show. And man.
Woo! God, hose me down.
That is so good.
Now that'd be a terrible decision.
Yeah, don't do that.
Let's be clear.
But also do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yes, exactly. What an awful decision that would be. Man. And then Swerve is chasing the IWGP World title on AEW TV while New Japan fans are just steaming.
And it's it's like top of the first hour or whatever. It's not even like main event type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's on Collision. There's a Collision match between.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, fuck.
It has to happen. We have to do this.
Not a fucking chance.
All right.
So, yeah, the match will be great. I know that Zach and Ricochet are not going to go out there in the Tokyo Dome and not have a great match. Claudio versus Shota Umino. Now, listen, if you want to keep talking yourself into Shota maybe winning the night before, Claudio's a guy that you could easily dispatch of the next night in your first title defense because Tony doesn't give a shit about Claudio winning or losing. So from that standpoint, you can kind of, if you want to talk yourself into Shota, the person he's matched up with makes sense for someone to beat. So, and then Zach and Ricochet could just go out there and have themselves a work rate match. But see, how flat would that feel if Zach goes into that without the title?
Right,
it's so he's probably going to win. But
whereas Shota, like you said, I think what you can do then is Shota can get his win back on, get his momentum back beating a guy like Claudio.
Exactly my point, right? If he wins the title, he's going to beat him, and if he loses, he's going to beat him and like get his heat back, so to speak. So, because that's not a guy that Tony's going to that's not a guy Tony's going to protect, as probably on the short list of guys that Tony offered up when they were like, all right, well, who can show to beat the next night? Claudio was probably one of the first guys on the list that Tony offered up. And obviously, it's who New Japan chose. So those will be the top 3 matches on the show. Now, I don't know if this is a hot take. I'm not down on this card. People seem to be down on this card.
I like this card. Yeah, no, when I ran it down on the Flagship Plus, when I was running down all the Christmas and New Year's shows, I got done with it and I was like, actually, I kind of like this show. I know that's and I said I was like, I don't know if people, this is going to be seen as I can't believe you're saying that. I think this card's pretty damn good. I think Ricochet and Zack Sabre Jr. sounds like a lot of fun. I think Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd sounds like a lot of fun. I think the Bucks versus whoever and Great O'Khan sounds like there's a lot of matches on the show that I'm like, yeah, that sounds really good. Like the House of Torture. I've never been as excited for a House of Torture match as I am for this one. So no, I think it's a pretty decent card, all told. So I'm with you.
I mean, I like it better than the night before, if I'm being honest.
That's a little takey. But I don't think
I'm going to get heat for that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If you take Shingo and Takeshita off of night 1, it isn't even close.
No. Yeah. I got you there.
If Shingo and Takeshita, and I'm not even saying move that to night 2. I'm saying if Shingo and Takeshita didn't exist, okay, it's not even close. Wrestle Dynasty is multitudes better looking on paper than Wrestle Kingdom. But Wrestle Kingdom has the best looking match on paper by far between the 2 shows. So that kind of evens the playing field a little. But I mean, if I'm just saying on paper, I don't know. I prefer 1-5 on paper. I know I'm going to take a beating for that, but
yeah, I don't want to go. I wouldn't go that far. I just don't think people think it's like the drizzling shits. Like people in the chat room are saying, "Give me the worst Inokiism over Dynasty. It's one of the worst domes that New Japan has ever run." And I would tell you, go back and look at some of those old New Japan Tokyo Dome shows. If you think this is the worst Tokyo Dome show they've ever run, I don't think you.
No, look, I think the atmosphere could hurt it. I'm just talking on paper.
Yeah.
All right. If you put these 2 shows in Cork and Hall, I mean, the Wrestle Dynasty is a better lineup. Is that even controversial? I mean, look at the 2 lineups. I don't know. I don't know. I prefer it as an on card, as an on paper card. But Wrestle Kingdom's gonna have more heat because there's gonna be more people in the building. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think either card is great. Like, I'm not saying this Wrestle Dynasty card is some great card that I'm frothing at the mouth to watch. That's fine. I think people are being way too hard on it. But anyway, Jack Perry, Yota Tsuji, I don't know. I have no interest in anything Jack Perry does.
I think that match is gonna suck. That just has sucker and all that. That has like Yota's gonna smile and Jack's gonna be evil. You know what I mean? Like I no, get that. I got no interest in that one. No interest in that one. Now this other one on paper I would not have interest in, but actually when you think about it, it's gonna probably fucking rock. That's Brody King and David Finlay. Now there's nothing. It's just like two dudes and they're just wrestling. You know what I mean? It's non-title, I think, and they're just wrestling and they're just gonna have a match or whatever. But these guys have similar styles. I think it could actually work because Brody's gonna work his ass off. You kidding me? Brody King in the Tokyo Dome, even if there's 18,000 people there or 20,000 people there, he's going to work his ass off. And I think Finlay and Brody King's style kind of work together. So I'm actually looking forward to Brody King and David Finlay a lot, even though it's just a match that literally is just like, here's two dudes. You know what I mean? Here's two guys.
There's no build or anything. But I mean, Finlay's been having good matches. And Brody King, he had a really good Continental Classic. So yeah, it's just two dudes having a match. And, I think it has a chance to be better than Finlay and Tsuji. Doesn't mean it will be. Like, obviously, I wouldn't be stunned if Finlay Tsuji ultimately ends up being better. Plus, it'll, have more heat because it'll be for the title, and I think Tsuji's going to win. But Finlay Brody King could be a good match, yeah.
Then we get into some
Mercedes is next, and she's on a roll.
Yeah.
Mercedes, but she's not in there with a good opponent.
No, that's going to be the problem. Yeah, is Mina's a lot of shtick and a lot of charisma and the dance and all that sort of stuff, but that could really just kind of not land with a relatively empty Tokyo Dome. You know what I mean? It's 15 to 20,000 is it's gonna, and that's going to be true for both nights. And there's the discussion going on in the chat room right now. Where people are talking about this show bombing compared to 1-4.
What are they saying in the chat?
Well, just that 1-4, that 1-4 is going to, blowing away the attendance of 1-5, and
listen, 1-4 is going to have more people in the building.
Of course, but it's not going to have 40,000 people. It's going to have 25 to, Chris Sampson is saying it's trending towards 25 to 28,000. That's not good either. That's a bad number. That's a cavernous dome anyway. That's a cavernous dome anyway. That makes for a rough atmosphere. And Dynasty, Chris is saying expecting about 18 to 20,000 for Dynasty. That's a drop, and 18 to 20,000 in the dome isn't going to sound great or look great, but 25 to 28 is not going to look great or sound great either. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast right now.
Yeah, it's going to be they're going to have basically what they had the last couple of years. Right? I mean, they haven't hit 30 in a while, right?
I'd have to look back. Yeah, I don't think so.
They haven't hit 30 in a while. I mean, because all right, so the first couple of years after the pandemic, they had limited seating. At least in 2021 for sure they did. So you got to throw that one out. 2022, I believe they had limited seating as well. So you got to throw out, and they had the double dome that year as well. You got to throw that out too. So the first year you should look at is 2023 and so 2023 and 2024. I don't think they hit 30 either of those years.
Yeah, I'm gonna check real
quick.
Are
you there already? Or
I am on my way. Don't worry, clicking through.
I'm gonna say that they did about 25 to 27,000.
2023 they did 2685.
Right.
So 2685 for
26,000. Yeah. Okay.
And then 2024 was, give me one sec, 27,422. So 28 and 27,000.
So marginally higher the next year, like 1,000, 1,500, a little less than 1,500 more for the following year. Naito and Sonata and Danielson versus Okada and Jay White and Omega Ospreay. The semi-main, basically within 1,000 tickets of each other, but both under 30,000. They haven't had 30,000. You'd probably have to go back to 2019,
right?
And they may have had 40,000.
I think 2020. I think 2020 one of the ones in 2020 had 30,000.
Oh, that's right. That was before the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
Right. So I'm sure that's where you have to go before the pandemic.
That was a weekend double dome. Naito getting crowned. Like there was a lot in that
was a huge one. That was where they did 70,000 between the 2 days.
Right.
So that's where you have to go, right before the pandemic. And to me, that's where Naito finally beat Okada in the dome. And that is the show. That's the Wrestle Kingdom where that era of New Japan ended. And that not because the pandemic came a month later either. That era ended there. Whether the pandemic had happened or not, that's where that golden era of New Japan was ending and a new era was beginning. Now, the pandemic put them behind the 8 ball to getting started with the next era. And they have not fully recovered. But Naito beating Okada in the dome, that was, from a narrative standpoint, a storytelling standpoint, the end of the 2012 to 2020 era. That was it. And then everything after that was something new. It was, all right, we're going to elevate Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi and Shingo, and we're going to do House of Torture versus Naito. And that was the start of a new era. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened and fucked everything up, and they're still digging out of the hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. They haven't done 30 since. Now you had the 2 years where it was limited, and then like we said, they did about 26, 27,000. So look, it's not like this Naito Hiromu match is fucking knocking it out of the park. I mean, without it, they do less. I don't have any doubt because they had nothing. Okay. So it's going to do essentially, we think, what the last two did. I just think they're crazy for trying to run 2 this year because the company's not hot enough for that.
Well, and that's where the people have given the theory that maybe they wanted to do something with Okada and Tanahashi on this night, but then it didn't work out, or the Tanahashi retirement was going to be one of the nights, and then that didn't work out.
Sure.
So they just kind of said, "Fuck it, all right, what can we do on the second night or whatever?" And told AEW, told their partners, "Hey, can we get a little help here? Can we do this this dynasty thing?" Who knows? Who knows how it came to? I agree, and that's my point ultimately is that like. I don't think, like, what we're talking about, Mina Shirakawa and Mercedes Moné, like, I don't know that this crowd's going to be very invested in this. And I don't know if the crowd's going to be very invested in a lot of what's going to happen on this Dynasty show. And that will hurt the atmosphere. It's not going to be the building number, the total number of people in the building. That's not because, again, I think both nights are not going to have very great attendances. They're both going to be, hovering around, like you said, the 25, 28 for the first night, and then probably, 15 to 20,000 or whatever for night 2. But it's going to be the investment. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of investment in night 2, and that could definitely hurt some of these matches, particularly Moné and Shirakawa, like a match that I'm talking about there, where Shirakawa does not feel like somebody that's going to really be able to do her thing that gets her over in front of a lot of crowds, that's going to land quite with, the 15,000 people or whatever that are at Dynasty or Wrestle Dynasty. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that whether it was because they thought they were going to have a Tanahashi retirement night 2 or not, once that was off the table, I think the New Japan fans, they're rightfully bitter at AEW in a lot of ways because AEW takes all their stars. Okay, let's be honest. And there's a lot of finger pointing and laughing at this night 2 potentially bombing because it's so centered around a lot of AEW talent. I don't know who needs to hear this. New Japan would have probably done less without the aid. I mean, they have nothing to offer for 2 domes right now. They have nothing to offer. So this idea that it's like the Japanese fans rejecting a joint show or a multi-promotion show, they would have rejected anything, not, quote unquote, rejected anything on night. What the fuck was New Japan putting on night 2? Let's say that AEW wasn't involved. What the fuck was New Japan putting on night 2 of this if they didn't have Tanahashi's retirement that was going to draw? Nothing. Nothing they have could have drawn night 2. So, I don't think that there's this idea that it's not drawing because people don't want to see AEW wrestle. I don't buy that at all. It wouldn't have drawn anyway. Do you feel like this would have drawn anyway?
No.
They're not strong enough to do 2 shows back to back in a dome right now. So,
I think it was the matter of it falling on the weekend, and it was like, all right, well, it was a good opportunity to do the double dome or whatever. Let me tell you something. Kenny Omega's going to outdraw whatever New Japan would have put on this thing. For sure.
I'm not taking crazy pills, right? Kenny Omega's return is a bigger draw for this second show than anything New Japan has. I mean, that's not even arguable. So whatever this show does, it would have done substantially less without Kenny Omega. Forget the other guys like Claudio. None of them matter. But Kenny Omega, and that's your AEW involvement. That's the part that matters. And maybe Mercedes to a lesser extent. Nobody cares about Ricochet or Jack Perry or Brody. Okay, no one cares about them.
Claudio.
Not even the Bucks. The Bucks not.
No.
It's Omega. What would this show be without Omega? Whatever they're going to do, it would have been 20% less without Kenny Omega.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's selling those last bits of tickets, for sure.
So, I mean, sometimes I can't take these New Japan fans. Sometimes they're just... Now, I get it. They have a right to be annoyed at AEW. I understand. Okay? I get it. But we also have to rein this in and also exist in reality. They should be thanking AEW for giving Kenny Omega to them for this. Because this would have, if they're calling this a bomb, it would have bombed way worse without Kenny.
Yeah, doing a straight double dome. Imagine if, take out all the AEW guys and you have a straight double dome. What the fuck would that look like? I mean, I guess you would. I don't know. Yeah, because I was gonna say you could put Hiromu and Naito on this one, but no, you need that for the first dome. So it's like I don't know what the fuck you would do for a double dome if you didn't have the guarantee that you were gonna get X amount of AEW roster members, particularly and most notably Kenny Omega, like you said, is the big one. But yeah, so that's so this is gonna be we should note for the Monday versus Mina Shirakawa match is for the New Japan Strong Women's title as well as the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title. Mina Shirakawa bringing that to the building. So I expect Monday to obviously win all those and show up on Dynamite to do a championship celebration, Joe. The only gimmick that Pepperman knows how to do is the championship celebration. So I would expect Monday with an iced bucket of champagne talking about how she is the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title holder at some point in the next couple weeks. So
yeah, Money's on a roll, but it might end here because Shirakawa is just an average wrestler. It's all charisma with her. So and I don't know, Money is a weird wrestler. She's a great wrestler, but I don't know if she necessarily is someone who you can count on to raise the bar for a wrestler who's not great. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, she's not that kind of great.
Yeah, no, she's on a good roll, but she's been on a good roll with good workers too, and I don't know that Mina's a good worker. It's probably the best way to do it. I think Mina she fits her role perfectly, but I don't think you can go into this thinking that you're going to get a Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale level match out of Mina Shirakawa. She's just not that. But maybe we'll be. Hey, if Mercedes is on the roll that she's on, maybe she can. Maybe she can pull something incredible out of Mina Shirakawa. I'm, 6 from the top. I'm definitely doubting that. For sure, here on this Dynasty show. The Young Bucks versus TBD and Great Okan. Any thoughts on the TBD here?
Yeah, I think the Bucks are going to win no matter who it is. I think they were going to win if Hanare didn't get hurt. So I don't think this changes the plans at all. I think the Bucks were going to come here and win it. It's just, again, it's annoying because the World Tag League Tour. Now you're going to delay when the winner of the tour gets the title shot. I don't know. It's just, just stick to your tours and stick to your plans with your tours. It's not as annoying as the junior situation. Nothing is as annoying as that. But yeah, I don't know who this mystery guy is going to be. The fact that you're making it a mystery guy tells me it's got to be somebody bigger than just one of the other members of the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if it's just going to be, Akira or what's the other dude's name? Jacob Austin Young or whatever the fuck his name is. Like,
obviously it's not going to be one of those.
Because why would you not just say that that's who the guy is? So it's got to be somebody else. But who? Yeah,
I don't. It's that's the little caveat. I hope it's someone fun, but maybe they'll. I don't see the Bucks coming in for this and losing. So it's not like
no.
So whoever it is. Whether it's
I think a lot of people have said that the Bucks are going to win this and then probably defend those titles against Hiromu and Naito at some point. And then Hiromu and Naito win the titles.
Hiromu and Naito have to get the title shot at some point, right?
Yeah, right.
So the Young Bucks versus Hiromu and Naito, seems like the kind of match. Do you think it's impossible that they could even do it right on the 5th since the Bucks are already there?
Yeah, maybe the Bucks make quick work of
they're doing a show on the 5th. No, not on the 5th.
Oh, you mean the New Year Dash, like New Year Dash or whatever?
Are they doing a New Year Dash or doing one? Right?
I think so. Let me double check to make sure.
I don't even know if they're doing one now that I think about it.
No, I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, so you could even do it while the Bucks are still in town. With this Wrestle Dynasty, I that's a good question. I'm not even sure if they're doing a New Year Dash show.
It'd be funny if the Bucks are just like, now we're good. Like, get it all done in one swoop. They are doing it on the 6th. That would be amazing that they don't even want to fly back for like New Beginning. You know what I mean?
Well, I think now look, no, I think the Bucks winning the title and then Naito and Hiromu coming out to challenge them for the next day. It would be fun.
Yeah, I agree. That would juice up that New Year Dash for sure.
And then Naito and Hiromu could just, win them, and then the Bucks go home. Because when the fuck are the Bucks going to come back to Japan?
Right.
They don't even want to work half the Dynamite. They're going to fly back to Japan.
They don't want to show up to work in their home country, let alone go to Osaka for New Beginning in Osaka or whatever in February. So there's definitely something to that. All right.
That's my wacky prediction.
Yeah,
I think
I like
the Bucks will win, and I think Naito and Hiromu will come out, and I think Naito and Hiromu will win them immediately the next night.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah,
that's a good spot for Naito to be a tag team champion for the first half of the year and just be part of that division.
For sure. Yeah, I think that works.
And you know what you could do then too? You could headline shows with the tag team title.
Of course. That's a great asset to have, especially when you're potentially putting the world title on a guy who's not ready or a guy that has the title right now and has not exactly drawn great yet either. So yeah, having main events of Naito and Hiromu defending those titles seems to make all the sense in the world. So I think we just booked it right there. Let's do it. And by us saying that, it means it's not going to happen. And we're going to be completely wrong because we're like always wrong when we make these grandiose predictions. But that makes all the sense in the world. So they should do that. Get to listen to us. We got it right here. This match I'm looking forward to also. The winner of Shingo versus Takeshita.
Not to cut you off, but one more point on that. What sense does it make for the Bucks to come back to AEW TV with the IWGP tag team titles with the state that they left? Like, they have to come back repackaged, right? And it's like, it'd be weird for them to come back with this. Oh, by the way, while we were hiding from the Death Riders, we won the IWGP tag team titles in Japan. Like, it's weird. It's awkward. I just don't think that they need or should come back to America with the titles. So anyway, next match.
All right. The winner of Shingo versus Takeshita from 1-4 will be facing Tomohiro Ishii for the Never Openweight title. So that is another match that you circle and go, okay, has a 100% chance of being good because it's either Takeshita and Ishii or it's Takagi and Ishii, and those are both going to be great. So,
but it's interesting that it's just the Never title.
Correct.
So, I guess it's not interesting because Ishii's losing anyway. Like, if it was someone other than Ishii, maybe you'd say, oh, well, wait a minute. Right? But, why not? But at the same time, then why not make it for both titles? If he's going to lose anyway. So it does make you raise an eyebrow a little, right?
Right. That maybe Ishii does win the Never title because they don't want the Never title. Takeshita doesn't need the Never title because Takeshi's winning. Right, like we can assume that Takeshi's winning. He's going into this match. He doesn't need the Never title, so he can lose the Never title to Ishii, and then New Japan can have that title. The AEW, you want to make New Japan fans mad? You have Takeshita just walk around with the Never title, just barely show it on TV and carry it to the side while he's no, you don't need that. So he will win it, and then he'll lose it here to Ishii.
Do you think he'll lose to Ishii?
I do.
That's a bold one.
It's a bold one, but it's for the Never title. So I think
that's weird that it's not for both. Yeah.
Right.
Strange.
The fact that it's not for both makes me think that it's just
But then what the fuck is the point of just going from, why not just have Ishii beat Shingo for the Never title? And then you don't, we'll see. I don't know. Whatever.
Here's a match that I am genuinely excited about, and I don't know if I should be. Maybe you could talk me off a ledge, or maybe you're with me too. ROH World Tag Team Titles. The Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus the House of Torture of Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I am excited about this, Joe. Am I rational in my excitement, or am I an idiot?
I mean, I'm a Kanemaru fan and have been for decades. I don't like watching Sho wrestle at all. But the thing is, for these ROH tag team titles, and Dustin's going to work hard, and the bevy of interference isn't going to bother me as much. Yeah, it could be a fun match. I thought it was random as hell when they popped up on that pre-tape to challenge them at Final Battle, where Sho did most of the talking, and Kanemaru was just like, "Hi," just it looked like you didn't know what you're like. All right, whatever. What do I have to do? How much of my time is this going to take up? But yeah, it could be a fun match. I don't hate it. It's random and fun.
So we're being told that apparently it's not for the Never Openweight title now. It's for both.
Oh, if it's for well, then Ishii's definitely losing.
Yeah.
Then,
okay.
Yeah.
That changed, right? That was not. I have the notes here. Why would I say it's only for the Never? Whatever. Who cares?
I don't know. I'm just following your lead, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. This show's weird. This Dynasty show, it's so fucking weird. It's going to get more weird here in a minute. All right, so you have the International Women's Cup final four-way match. Athena, Momo Watanabe, Willow Nightingale, and Persephone going for the International Women's Cup here in Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd prefer a little mini tournament with two singles matches. I'm tired of these four-ways, so hopefully it's good.
And then the weirdest match on the show is probably this Lucha Gauntlet match. So it's 4 New Japan wrestlers and 4 CML wrestlers to be announced, an 8-man Lucha Gauntlet. But what's been funny is a lot of Lucha fans are looking at who's announced for shows and who's booked for shows, and basically crossing names off left and right. And it's an odd list of people that are still left over. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen here, but.
Yeah, so you can kind of use process of elimination and see who they're going to send over. I don't know. I can't talk about a match if I don't know who's in it.
Yeah.
So, but it should be something fun at the start of the show to just cram some people on and justify the CMLL branding on the show outside of the Persephone involvement, because it's AEW, New Japan, CMLL, Stardom, and what ROH is the other one, I guess.
Yeah,
that they're
yeah,
putting on the posters. So, you got to have some more CMLL talent there. So, I guess they're just picking, and I'm sure New Japan and AEW, if they don't give a shit who CMLL sends over, just send us 4 guys and whoever you
4
send.
luchadors. Yeah, give us some luchadors and call it a day. Yeah,
send 4 guys and stick them in the match, and and away we go. Because there's no CMLL wrestlers in any of the important matches on the show. So it's just, and there's only CMLL matches in one other match. I guess if you want to call that whatever this International Women's Cup thing important, okay. But that's the only other CMLL wrestler on the entire show. So, they'll cram a few into that match, and I wish there was more involvement with them.
It sucks. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that disappointed me most about this show. Like, I know, ROH being on there was always laughable because it's like, okay, great. The stars of ROH are coming to Wrestle Dynasty. But when CMLL was announced on that, I was like, oh, you can do a lot of really fun things with a lot of those talents. And it's like, there's nothing CMLL in here. And it's like, even from the standpoint of, I know it's very easy to blame AEW and blame Tony Khan or whatever, but New Japan has a working relationship with CMLL, right? Like, what the fuck? Why is there nothing represented? There's no CMLL representation anywhere else on the show except for Persephone stuffed into this International Women's World Cup, and then whatever the fuck 4 guys they send over for the Lucha Gauntlet. And that's it. That's all. And one of those is going to be on the pre-show. The Persephone, I think that's on the pre-show, and the Lucha Gauntlet, we don't know who the fuck's going to be in this thing. That sucks. Like, right, there should be more inclusion of that, particularly with a company that has a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, what the hell? Why is there nothing else?
I agree.
Couldn't find anything else for any of those other guys to do?
Very little Stardom involvement too, if you want to go down that road.
True. Yeah.
Momo in a 4-way, and Shirakawa, who's really an AEW wrestler now, and she's defending a Rev Pro title.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just let me make my argument that this is the better on paper
lineup. All right,
lineup.
what do you got?
If you were ranking, here's an exercise. If you were ranking all of if you were combining all the matches of the 2 shows and then ranking the best matches on paper, Shingo Takeshita would undoubtedly be number 1, right?
For me, yes. Absolutely.
2, 3, and 4 are on the 5th. Because those matches would be in whatever order you want to put them in. Kenny Omega, Gabe Kidd,
correct.
Ricochet, Zack Sabre Jr., and more than likely Takeshita versus Ishii.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even accepting an argument that the 2, 3, and 4 are those 3 matches.
Guess if you are a big LIJ guy, obviously Naito and Hiromu would move up that list for you.
Come on.
Dookie and Desperado, I think you can make a case for getting in the mix
5.
there. Okay, that's fine. I think you can make a case for that one, usurping one of the other ones that you mentioned.
Finley, Suji, maybe too, but that's like 5 and 6, probably.
Right. Again, Mayu Iwatani and Azumi, you could, hypothetically, but again, like we said, there's going to be reasons why there's going to be limitations on that match, for sure.
That's it. If that was the main event of one of the shows, now we're talking, but it's not. It's going to get 5 minutes. It's going to get 8 minutes, 10 minutes tops. 2, 3, and 4 on the 1-5 show, and maybe 5 and 6 are on the 4th. Dookie, Despy, and Finley, Suji, but let me take a look at this. I'm not sure Finley Brody King isn't better than one of those 2 matches, but reasonable minds can disagree there. Mm-hmm. Those are the next 3, though, right? The 2 Finley matches and the junior title match are the next 3, to me. Then you're talking probably the ladder match. Claudio, Shota. This is like the next tier. the Bucks, depending who that mystery guy is.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's not
you
going
have
to be
to
good.
throw that in there.
That's not going to be that good, I bet.
Yeah, but we've already named all the ones that are going to be good. Like, this is the next tier. You know what I mean? Like, you think the Bucks are going to have a bad match?
It depends who the guy is, but probably not. I mean, they apparently decided that they were going to just have bad matches on purpose for a while there, but I think they're not anymore, especially not in Japan.
All right, so let's plot this out. So, give you my okay. So Takeshita and Shingo, easy. Okay, that's the fourth. 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna go Kenny and Gabe is the second best match. That's the fifth. I'm gonna say Zach and Ricochet is the third best match. That's the fifth. And I'm gonna say Takeshita and Shingo is the fourth best match. And you could really swap that with Sabre and Ricochet if you want. But those are the next three best matches. I can't even accept an argument otherwise. So then 5, 6, and 7, you got the 2 Finley matches are contenders and the junior match. So let's just throw those in. The order doesn't really matter. So Finley 1, Finley 2. That's the fourth and the fifth. And then the junior match, that's the fourth. Okay. So the top 7 matches for me, 4 of them are on the fifth and 3 of them are on the fourth. After that, I'm only going to go to the top 10. So we got 8, 9, and 10. So the next 3 best matches, the contenders would be the ladder match. I guess Naito Hiromu. I'll be fair. Claudio Shota. I'm not putting Jack Perry in there. I can't stand the guy. But chances are it's going to be as good as the ones I'm naming. I'm throwing the Bucks in because it's the Bucks. They're not going to have a bad match. So out of those 4, I need 3 of those 4. And there's 2 from the fifth and 2 from the fourth. Mm-hmm. So I'll just call that a wash. I don't know. I think the fifth is the better on paper lineup.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go as strong as you are, but I do think that people are saying it's like an awful... It's an awful show, and it's not an awful show. It's
not an awful show. It's listen, I'm not even super strong. I'm not saying it's a way better show. I'm saying it's a better on paper show because it has it's deeper on matches that could be great.
Right.
Is that fair? I think it's deeper on matches that could be great.
Deeper on matches that could be great. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think Shingo and Takeshita can be great. I think in the best case scenario, Dookie and Desperado could be great. And I don't know that any of the other matches could be great. I don't know if Sabre and Umino can be great. I don't know if Naito and Hiromu... I guess Naito and Hiromu could be great. So I'll add that to another great. So there's 3 on the first show. On the second show, Takagi/Takeshita versus Ishii can be great. The Young Bucks match could be great. Ricochet versus Sabre could be great. And Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd could be great. So there you go, yeah.
At least 4 matches. I mean, right there. And Finley Brody King. Finley Brody King is no worse than Finley and Tsuji. At worst, that's a wash. And Finley Tsuji is one of the better matches on the fourth. And Finley Brody King is like no better than fourth or fifth on the fifth. But yet those 2 matches are a wash. I just think on paper. Now the fourth is going to have the advantage of the bigger crowd and all of that. But this idea that the fourth is some massively better show than the fifth is a bunch of nonsense. I mean, that's a bunch of nonsense.
I think you have to have a lot of faith in Naito and Hiromu and a lot of faith that Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota is going to be awesome. And I don't know that I have a lot of faith that Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota is going to be awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like that there's a lot of people that are just kind of assuming it's a Tokyo Dome main event. And it will be, but is Shota that guy? I don't know if he's that guy. Maybe he can prove me wrong. I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong, but I've been not proven wrong about Shota time and time again for this guy. And like I said, the preview tag, he was the least interested guy in the tag. Now I thought he was good in it, but he was the least interested guy in that match. So I don't know. I'm sure Zach's going to work his ass off, but I don't know if Uminu's got that gear. I don't know if he's got that gear. He had that gear versus Will Ospreay. So can he have that same gear that he had against Will Ospreay against Zack Sabre Jr.? Maybe, but I don't know why everybody's assuming that will just automatically be great when Shota has done very little to prove that he's great.
I think it'll probably be great. But again, I'm doing an on-paper exercise. Am I more excited about Kenny Gabe, Shingo Takeshita, and Sabre versus Ricochet? Yes, I am. That doesn't mean that Sabre and Shota can't be better than those matches. It could be. I mean, sure, it's the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, and it's Zack Sabre Jr. I'm sure he'll make sure it's an excellent match. But again, is anybody's juices flowing for that right now? I don't get that sense. Mine aren't. So I don't know. I look at these two cards. I don't see how anyone can say one of these cards is drastically better than the other. I don't understand how you could say that on paper. I don't understand how anyone could come to that conclusion. But I hope they're both great.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, they're both fucking awesome.
I hope they both exceed expectations, and I think that our lack of excitement really for either one of them means that they probably will, because we're not really jacked up for either show.
Right.
And I feel like both shows could be really, really good. And there's a chance that both shows could be great. There is a real chance both of these shows.
Of course, they're Tokyo Dome. They're New Japan in the Tokyo Dome, man. They've very rarely been bad. Of recent vintage, they're not bad. They're almost always pretty fucking great. So there's a pretty good chance these ones are pretty fucking great, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Ricochet is just a much better wrestler than Shota Umino. So, obviously, that match is better on paper for Zach. But the Zack Sabre Jr. Shota Umino match has the advantage of being the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That's a big advantage to have.
And it'll have the crowd. It'll have the crowd way more behind it than, no matter what you think of Ricochet, like the crowd will be more behind the investment of the IWGP World title main eventing 1-4 than they're going to be for, Ricochet.
Right. That's a huge advantage.
Swooping on in in wrestling. Yeah. So that is Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom. We're again going to be going live after both of those shows. Instant Reaction Live, $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. So we'll see you guys there on both 1-4 and 1-5. Some quick hitter topics before we get to our final topics, reviewing the shows from Noah and All Japan Pro Wrestling. Our first contract season update of the year, Joe. We're ready for contract season. New Japan. Multiple New Japan contracts, multiple New Japan Pro Wrestling contracts are coming due, as they always are. This isn't news, but certain websites will cover it as if they're news. So yes, Gabe Kidd, his contract is expiring. Kevin Knight, his contract is expiring. TJP, his contract is expiring. David Finlay, his contract is expiring. All right. You know whose contracts are also expiring, Joe? Most everybody else on the roster. But Gabe Kidd, Kevin Knight, TJP, and David Finlay are being reported as expiring.
Well, I wouldn't say it isn't news. I mean, obviously it's news, but it's not. It's like this is every year. Like even some of these names are the same names where this was reported last year, so it's like that's just how New Japan contracts work. And I think that if, it's like if you're these guys and your contracts are coming up again because it's contract season and the end of January is when typically the New Japan contract cycle comes up. You just think this through. And we had the same conversation last year. They obviously are going to want to get that out there because they are going to want to drum up interest in their services. So it's advantageous for them to make sure that gets out there. Right. So, I mean, it's news. I mean, yeah, but it's like, it's not like, shouldn't be surprising news to anyone that all of these contracts are coming up again. I mean, there's some repeat offenders here. It's like every year we hear about these same people whose contracts are up because yes, they're on 1 year cycles over and over and over. So, if Gabe Kidd wants to make sure that he gets that out there, that's advantageous to him because then if AEW or WWE are interested, they know that he's available. And it also sparks talk, and it gets people talking about these guys too. So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. This is every year with New Japan contracts. Same thing every year. And it'll be the same thing next year.
Yeah, we'll do it again next year.
And it's just,
with most of these guys, yeah.
It's just funny because it's the English-speaking guys where this comes out, and it's never the Japanese guys. Even though a bunch of the Japanese contracts will come up at the end of January too. It's because these guys are smart enough to make sure that word gets out that their contracts are coming due. I mean, that's the game. That's a strategic advantage for you to get the word out that your services are available.
Right. And use any sort of leverage that you possibly can with the media to say, hey, look, these people are looking at me and that people are looking at me. So when you get to the contract, you hopefully can spook New Japan, probably, spook them and say, better give these guys money if they're, talking to other people. A lot of people interested in their services.
Or get a deal from America.
Yeah, or somebody that in America that maybe didn't know that you were available now knows you're available.
That's the real end game.
Yeah.
That's the real end game, to get the big American contract. I mean, that's the real end game. But yeah, you have New Japan to and if you don't, if you get a deal that's not really to your liking, a WWE ID deal for, 60,000 or whatever. What did I say that they were? I don't even remember. It was somewhere between 40 and 60,000. They were double the UK deals, which were 20,000. So like 40, 50,000, whatever. So if you get like a WWE ID deal or a developmental deal, which isn't the big money deal that you're chasing, you could still use that to leverage against New Japan. And that's just the game. And that's what contract season's all about. It's leveraging whatever you can to get the best deal you can from whoever you can get it from.
Other contract news, and I guess we could kind of loop this into Noah eventually in a bit, is it looks like they are going to lose, well, we always call him Wagner 3, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. He is saying he is finishing up with Pro Wrestling Noah, and they are also gaining dates, though, on Tetsuya Endo. So he's going to be doing a kind of a dual contract with DDT and Noah. They're both under the Cyber Fight umbrella, so that's not a big surprise. And at least for the time being, and I don't know how long this is going to be, and I've seen nothing official from Noah, but apparently more dates on Kenta as well. So Kenta usually he'll pop in for a match or two here and there over the years, but it appears that he's going to be here at least somewhat more regularly. How much more regularly that is, we don't know. But Wagner 3 out, and Endo and Kenta, more dates for those guys in Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah, well, we did this with Wagner 3 last year, I think. Right? And we think that they dangled, it was either last year or the year before, and they dangled a GHC title reign, we presume, to keep him around. But he did lose to his brother on the Noah show, so it does look like this time he's really on the way out. So he's a talented guy. See where he lands. I don't have any good feel for that. I don't know if anything's been reported. When Kenta won his match over Kano, that kind of was a signal that, it wasn't a one-off.
All right, we're being told that Endo is full-time with Noah. I swear to God, I'm reading these things. These people, I don't make this shit up. I'm sorry that this stuff is all over the place, but we're being told that Endo is now full-time with Noah, and he's not doing a dual contract. So,
yeah. So I was talking about Kenta, though. So when Kenta won the match at the Noah show, over Kano, you kind of figured that couldn't be a one-off, because that would be even stupid by Nosawa Rangai standards to have the guy come in. And I guess you can't really discount it, right?
I was going to say, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
I'm using logic.
Stupid by Nosawa standards. Those are pretty low standards. Those are pretty low stupid standards, but
I'm using logic here, and that guy typically doesn't, although this isn't the week to bash him, because I think they did a good job with some other stuff on the show, which I guess that's going to be our next topic anyway. So yeah. And as far as Endo, yeah, I mean, that's whatever. I think he's a really good wrestler, and he has some level of charisma, and it's newsworthy if he is in fact jumping to Noah full time. I don't think he's a difference maker, even at that level, but I do think he's someone who could absolutely help anybody's card. And I know he's been a main eventer for DDT, but yeah, that's a different thing. In a lot of ways, they're similar to Dragon Gate in that way, where sometimes it's its own little universe and it doesn't always translate. But in terms of people who have left DDT and then have become bigger stars upon leaving, whether you're talking about Kenny Omega or Konosuke Takeshita or somebody like that, I don't see that kind of path for Tetsuya Endo. I don't think he can be that level of star. But it's someone who, if you have an opportunity to add him to your roster, of course you do.
Of course. Yeah. He's still 33 and a good talent, and DDT needs Noah needs guys like that. So yeah, we'll take a shot with Endo
no doubt about it.
If you're willing to do it. And yeah, so this is the official thing here, that after it was on today's show that he said after his upcoming dates at DDT on January 3rd and January 5th, he'll be taking an indefinite hiatus from the promotion to focus on his duties with Noah. So yeah, he is coming in there full time, which hey, that's going to be, again, that's a nice coup for Noah. Noah needs bodies and good talent. So that's definitely. I'm with you though. I don't think he's going to be like a game changing talent, but yeah, you take Tetsuya Endo if he's willing to come to your promotion and
of course.
be there full time for sure. So that's what's going on there. Real quickly, wrestling content. I want to do a quick little update on this. AEW has finally launched on Max, and you talked about this during your Thursday Dynamite review, that there is 2019 pay-per-views. It's exactly what they said was going to happen. There's 2019 pay-per-views that are up there. So the first 5 or so pay-per-views, including some of the BR Live specials, are up there. Then there is Dynamites from the first year, 2019, and then a smattering of Dynamites from, what is it, like October on from 2024? I think it's like, I forget what exactly the cutoff is, but there's like a couple of months of Dynamites from this year and Collisions from this year that it's up there as well. But obviously nothing for 2020, nothing for 2021, nothing for 2022. Nothing, I think, from 2023, and then just a smattering of stuff from 2024. So that's kind of what they said was going to happen, is that slowly they're going to roll that stuff out on Max. But that's what's up with the archives right now for AEW. Did you bounce around and notice anything else interesting that stood out to you? That's all I saw when I was looking around.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they have up. Yeah.
Okay, so
they have
just
the 5 pay-per-views from 2019 and all of the Dynamite, which is only like 3 months worth of TV.
Right.
From 2019. And then, from this year, they have the all of the recent Dynamites and Collisions, but they are missing a couple of Rampages.
Okay.
They have 1 or 2 Rampages up. They're missing a couple Rampages, but they have all the Dynamites and Collisions. But that's it so far.
Yeah, that's it. And that's kind of what they said was going to happen. And they said, I forget what the on a rolling basis, I think is what they called it for the future stuff to get up. So we'll see what ends up happening there. International Netflix for WWE. So obviously, we in America are still going to have the Peacock archives for another year, so all that stuff is still there. As far as what is available on Netflix International, so if you're an international viewer now, you are no longer able to get the WWE Network. The WWE Network is still in like a couple random countries or whatever, but unless you're in Cambodia or the Philippines or whatever, you no longer have the network. So I asked Griffin from our website, who's in Canada. I said, hey, can you go on to Netflix and let me know what is available in the WWE archives? So now what's available is most of the old pay-per-views. You're getting all the old pay-per-views that were up on the network are available on WWE on Netflix. So you have no problem getting to, if you want to watch Rock Bottom 1998, you have no problem. You can go on there and watch Rock Bottom 1998. If you want to watch Survivor Series 1988, you're in luck. It's still up there. So all the WWE pay-per-views are there. As far as old episodes of Raw, they have something called Raw Vault, which, remember, they copyrighted that Raw Vault a little while ago, and people wondered if maybe it was something to do with the YouTube channel. That apparently is what they're going to call their archives on Netflix. So Raw Vault has 7 episodes from 1993, just random, a couple in January, a couple in May, June, September, December, just kind of a smattering of episodes from 1993, a smattering of episodes from 1994, 4 episodes from 1994, 9 episodes from 1995, 13 episodes from 1996, 16 episodes from 1997, 20 episodes from 98, 16 from 99, 9 episodes from the year 2000, and 5 episodes from 2001. And then nothing from 2001 until 2022. And then from 2022 to 2024, all that is up. So it's weird. They've kind of picked and choosed what other years that they would put up there. And you're going to get some episodes from 1998, but not all of them. SmackDown, same deal. You're getting a couple episodes from 1999, a couple episodes from 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it stops at 8. And then you get all of 2022 through 2024 is available. But after 2008, you get nothing, and the episodes between there are just kind of random, just an assortment of random episodes. I'm sure they were chosen for some reason, but who knows? As far as NXT, you're only getting the takeovers. Again, like we've talked about. That is, you're getting all the takeovers and all their major pay-per-views because the TV archives are technically owned by the CW. So will the CW ever put them up in full? We don't know. Probably not. They haven't yet. So as far as other stuff, there's a bunch of just random ass, top 10 lists and superstar profiles and just a bunch of other bullshit. But that's it. That's all the archives are. No WCW, no ECW, no Mid-South, no World Class, no nothing. No Mid-Atlantic, none of that stuff. You get a little bit of Raw, a little bit of SmackDown, all the WWE pay-per-views, and then a bunch of other kind of bullshit that you probably don't care about. So now, will that be added to? Maybe. But I wouldn't hold my breath on a whole lot of that stuff. Peering, and then the last thing I will talk about here is New Japan on Access TV. The contract has expired, and it is not going to be renewed. So apparently New Japan said that they decided that they were not going to stay with Access TV, but it was probably both sides deciding that we're kind of done with this thing. And
that sounds like a face save to me.
I agree.
I think that they were booted off Access before. It seems as though Anthem they generally base this on whether New Japan is working with them, and New Japan currently is not working with TNA. So Anthem doesn't see any use or value in airing New Japan on their network if they're not going to be promotional partners with them. So, and in that case, New Japan, of course, would come out and say, well, I'm not fired, I quit. So that's
exactly.
just
right.
That's what it seems like to me. We've seen this happen before.
Because why would you not renew this? Why we're offering we make no additional content for this. We just send you our shows that we've already done, and then you air them. Why would they say no to this? But of course,
there's no functional, especially when you try to sell tickets to that audience, and that's the one thing. We see if it has any effect on ticket sales. It probably won't. I say this every time, but there's more people who follow New Japan on Access than people think. Follow the company through Access than people think.
I do think that number's a lot smaller than it probably once was, for sure.
Undoubtedly, because there's less people following New Japan, period, in America than there used to be also. But, but there's just there's no reason you can come up with that New Japan would make that decision. It's no skin off their back to send the tapes. So, anyway, yeah. So I think it's gonna have some major impact. It's gonna have way less of an impact than it would have if it would have happened during the pre-pandemic years or something, when a lot of people were following New Japan through that show.
So there's that, and all right, yeah. So that's at least a new era of wrestling content. I wanted to call that little bit there, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in wrestling content sphere, and we'll keep an eye on it when AEW starts updating their archives. If WWE updates their archives a little bit more, we'll see what ends up happening there. If the YouTube channel starts filling that gap a little bit, but definitely an interesting time in wrestling media. And I watched a little bit of AEW on Max. I know you watched it on Max as well. It seemed like a pretty good stream. Like I could definitely see myself if I ever cut the cord watching on Max. It was a pretty pleasant experience for me. It looked good, sounded good, so I had no issues watching it live either. So good for them. And I know the replay, I think, was up pretty quickly thereafter, but wasn't there was an issue where it was only doing the Spanish language one? Is that correct?
Yeah, it was up immediately, but only with Spanish commentary. So,
okay. Do you know when it switched, or what? Do anybody? I don't know if anybody.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it even has, because I just went to my DVR and watched it there at that point. So I'm sure it was just a bug first night and all that. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that'll all get worked out. What I want to know is whether the commercials will be cut out on the replays. Because if they are, then I'm going to watch, because I never, ever watch live. I haven't watched Dynamite live, only when, I guess if we've done audio right after, maybe. I don't watch it live. I go on with my nights. I cook dinner. I eat dinner with my family. I put the kids to bed, all that shit. And then I watch Dynamite later. So if there's no commercials on the replay, then I will utilize that, because it's just one less thing I don't have to fast forward the commercials if they're cut out. But I didn't know Max had price tiers until yesterday. I had no clue that Max had an ad-free tier, an ad tier. So I don't know how that's going to affect it, because I've always just had it as part of my HBO subscription.
Right, same.
I've never subscribed to Max. I've just had an HBO subscription, and Max has always come with it. So I'm told that's considered the highest tier, the ad-free tier. So, I mean, hopefully, maybe someone in the chat who has watched Dynamite since it ended. Well, they're telling me the commercials were in there. So I don't know. We'll see. If the commercials are in there, and then Max is of no use to me. I have no reason to ever watch on Max unless for some reason my DirecTV is out. So, but if the commercials are out on that highest tier, then I will watch it on Max from now on.
Then there's definitely value in that, because when I watch it on my DVR, instead of having to slap, forward, 4 or 5 times on the 30-second thing, I could just,
Yeah, if they're doing the work for me and cutting the commercials out, that's great. I'll watch it every week on Max.
Yeah, it looks like a couple people saying they have the commercials in there. So no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good then. So I'll keep watching like a dope on my DVR or live on TBS. So, all right, that is New Japan on Access, AEW on Max, and WWE on Netflix. So let's get to our final 2 topics of the night here before we say goodbye. Noah and All Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's start with Noah. They had their Noah New Year's show from Nippon Budokan, January 1st, 2025. This thing went off. This is great. This was like midnight on the new year. I know you were watching live. We were watching live at actually the same time because I believe it or not, you always make fun of me for going to bed early. I stayed up till 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve. So thank you very much, sir. So I watched the first hour of Pro Wrestling Noah New Year's, 5,088 in Budokan Hall for this show. Noah the New Year. We'll go over the rest of the card here in a minute, but I think we have to start with the main event. That's where I want to start with, at least the main event. And that was, to me, relatively shocking, but I think a very interesting move. Ozawa, who we talked about, coming back, returning from excursion, having a whole new character, a whole new coat of paint, doing the stuff online where he's calling out Kaito Kiyomiya for smoking and cheating on his girlfriend or his wife or whatever. I forget if Kiyomiya is married or just dating someone or whatever. And all this stuff. And that was kind of his angle and his gimmick or whatever. And he comes out here and he has a very... he's got odd mannerisms the whole time, and he's very demonstrative the entire match, and then goes out there. They have a 30-minute match, and he wins. He defeats Kaito Kiyomiya, and he is your new GHC heavyweight champion. So first off, before we get into the actual match itself and review that, what do you think about the decision of belting up Ozawa? Right thing, wrong thing, or are you willing to give it a try no matter what?
All right, so the 5,088, when they turned the house lights on, basically the top 5 rows of the upper deck were completely empty. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it could have been 5,000 in there. That's not like a huge Budokan Hall number. But we'll take it at face value. They did a nice crowd. It looked like a nice crowd, and it was hotter than most Noah crowds too. That was
for
notable.
sure. Yeah, it was a hot Noah crowd. And I do, in our notes, I have the other attendances, like Destination 2024, which was last year in like June or something like that. I forget when. That had Kiyomiya and Yoichi and Styles and Marufuji. That's at 4,196. So this show beat that. Noah the New Year in 2023. They did not do one in 2024, but they did one in 2023. That had 9,500, but it also had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Great Muta in Great Muta's retirement match. So, yeah.
The Muto stuff you got to throw out.
Yeah, you were never going to compete with that. Now, you go to Destination 2022, Kano versus Kojima. That had 3,215. And then the New Year 2022 had Nakajima versus Go, and that had 3,181. Now, I don't know if there was still COVID restrictions then for Japan. I have no idea. But regardless, this number beat last year's, and you got to look at that as
I could buy it. I could buy the 5,000 number based
for sure.
on what I saw, and Nakamura and everything else. Now, there's going to start to be diminishing returns on Nakamura if you overdo it by bringing him in every time. But no, I can buy that in the crowd. So it's a really good number for them. I mean, a super strong number. That's got to be their best number since Muto left, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, I haven't looked, but I can't imagine what would even contend with that. No, it's got to be.
Forgetting something obvious. It has to be. But that's on Nakamura. I mean, they're not going to do that number without Nakamura. But again, that's going to start to have diminishing returns. But the good news is they probably made a guy. Now, they definitely made a guy in terms of making a new main eventer for the company. This guy is a player now because he delivered. He delivered big. I mean, he has obvious charisma. He has his routine down as kind of this shitbag troll heel. It's a great act. It's over. In fact, he got cheered over Kiyomiya. They were chanting against Kiyomiya.
Yeah, the biggest thing was when the match started, Ozawa from the crowd, and Kaito's kind of looking back, and Ozawa, instead of like ignoring him, kind of plays into him and goes like, ha ha ha, look, they like me a lot. So I thought that was interesting, and he played into it and made it work, I think.
Yeah, and it's not a surprise because this guy, even though he's a heel and he's part of a heel stable and they're shitters and they're cheaters and they're assholes, he comes across a lot cooler than Kiyomiya does. Kiyomiya, first of all, was booked into oblivion by this company over the last several years. That's number one. And he just comes off like a dorky tryhard compared to this guy who comes off as something new and fresh. So they might have a slight problem there. I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day if the guy becomes a star and he draws. But they successfully made a guy. Our question was he going to shit the bed and piss down his leg, or was this guy going to deliver, and is this risk going to pay off? And it paid off. I mean,
he was good. He was good in this match too. I
was really good.
I think he was really good here.
Yeah, physically he was great. I mean, he's 28 years old. He's coming off excursion. He's in the prime of his career, and the wrestling part of it is not going to be a problem for him. He's a young guy with a lot of spark and energy in his work. He was doing flippy doos. Like what did
Phoenix Splash?
What was the big flippy do?
Phoenix Splash. Yeah, the one with the Phoenix Splash. Yeah.
And I loved when he mocked Kiyomiya by hitting him with the Shining Wizard.
Yeah, how good was that? It was like
mocked Muto's
confirmed
pose
flagship
and
listener.
everything.
Confirmed flagship listener. Ozawa, I loved it. Saying, because he did the little thing in the corner and he goes,
He mocked it. Yeah, he mocked it.
Yeah, it's so
he
good.
did it all exaggerated, and he was mocking Muto, and he's mocking Kiyomiya for biting off of Muto, and he hits him with the Shining Wizard, and everything he did physically looked great. His charisma was tangible. The guy clearly has charisma. He didn't look like he was lacking confidence at all. It didn't look like the moment was too big for him at all. And now Noah has a new guy for the top of the card. It worked, and there's no doubts about it. And get to know the name. Ozawa is a player in Japanese pro wrestling now. Noah made a guy. So that was my impression. And I thought that the match was very good, easily the best match of the night, even with all the interference and everything, because it worked for what they were. Now, am I going to get tired of it eventually? Maybe. I'm not tired of it right now, because this Team 2000X or whatever they call themselves, this is what they are. And, they bring in Omos earlier on the show. They have made Yoshi Tatsu interesting somehow as kind of like a heel manager type, who runs around in his little school shooter trench coat and wreaks havoc on the outside, and they're squeezing every bit of ability or use out of that guy. And they added a new member the next night. They added Yu Iwata. Is that who they added the next night? Mm-hmm. So the stable is growing. And, this main event it totally worked. Almost came out and the crowd lost their minds. They had seen him earlier in the night, and he didn't really interfere. He just came out and made his presence felt kind of while the referee was knocked out and everything. And then, Ozawa wins the title. And yes, this is a long-winded answer to your question, but I do think it's the right call. Kiyomiya's title reign wasn't going anywhere. It was kind of a dry title reign. It wasn't that great. He was just defending against all the usual suspects in the usual matches, and it really wasn't doing anything for them. So what do? They bring in Nakamura to ensure there's going to be more people than usual there, and then and that same night they decide to try to make a guy, and it works.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
That's exactly how you do it. You understand that Ozawa and Kiyomiya might not be a big time draw, so you get Nakamura in there. He's going to be your big time draw, but then you make sure that people leave with the visual of this guy that you may not have known about. You probably didn't know about before today. This guy is now our champion, and he's a fucking star. And he delivered, and the crowd was invested in him, and the work was great. And I think Kiyomiya was great in that match too, but Ozawa was the one that you leave this match going, oh my God, they made a guy. There's no better way to put it. They made a guy. Now, will Noah him? Will Nosawa? As you said, he
can't trust him.
He cannot trust him. You always got to keep Noah at arm's length. But for right now, as of today, January 2nd, they made a guy, and I am very excited to see what the future holds for Ozawa. And I think what helps too is he's kind of like, think Shun Skywalker, like in the sense that he's just got this presence in the ring, this clear charisma, and just this way to make you pay attention to him when he's in the ring. But he also can go too. So it's not just like he's not just a shitbag. That's the difference between like a House of Torture thing or like a Ren Narita or a show or whatever, is like at this point, this guy can still go. And yeah, the shtick might get old. There might be a point where we come back on the show 6 months later and go, oh my God, yeah, sick of this. It's the same shit.
Still doing this.
Yeah, he's still doing this. It's the same shit but for now, right now, it was very interesting because he was able to mix the I'm a shitbag, shit stir, whatever the hell, but I'm also really fucking good. You know what I mean? I could still go. I could still hit a beautiful Phoenix Splash on you. I could still hit a bunch of really good, impactful moves on you while I'm also making fun of you the entire time and trolling you and healing it up or whatever. So that's where the two really come together in a way that, like I said, like a Shun Skywalker, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy's a shitbag, but he can also go. And that, I think, is an important factor in keeping my interest level there. But yeah, they had to take a risk, a worthy risk to take, and this is great. And he is a name that a lot of people learned about this week, and I saw a lot of chat going on, and in our Discord, the Noah room, which is usually just a fucking nobody there except for the real hardcores, was filled with people talking about Ozawa and talking about his performance here. So check this match out if you have not seen this for sure. This was really, really good.
Yeah. So yeah, they made a guy, and there's a new guy in their top mix now. So I thought it was a home run. Couldn't have gone any better for them.
No,
now,
definitely
okay,
not.
I will say this. it sounded like he challenged Kano. Now look, sometimes the translations of the promos and stuff can be a little off. Maybe he was just shit talking Kano because Kano is part of Kiyomiya's crew. But Kano lost earlier in the night, and then he got laid out during this match. So if Kano is getting the next title shot, that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw that. I'm not doubting that, but I don't know that I saw that.
In the promo, he was calling out Kano, but I don't know if that was because he wanted to wrestle him.
Well, and I know that I didn't watch the show from today. They had a show earlier today, and I know he beat him up. I know he beat up Kano today, but I don't know. Again? Yeah, so it's probably the match.
I'll be annoyed if he's getting a title shot. That'll be annoying because it just, then he shouldn't have lost to Kenta then.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Let's talk about the rest of it.
All right, let's we'll go top down and work our way towards the beginning of the show. Shinsuke Nakamura against Oka Sasaki. So Shinsuke Nakamura coming in here, drawing the house against a guy that they've been trying to push over the last year, former UFC fighter, Oka Sasaki. Joe, I thought this match fucking sucked. I hated this match. This was torturous, and I could not wait for it to end.
I didn't think it sucked. I didn't like it. I thought that the standout thing about, first of all, Shinsuke Nakamura had no interest in working hard. Let's just get that out of the way.
No, zero.
But to me, the most interesting thing about the match was Oka Sasaki understood his role, understood he was losing, and really put in, I thought, a pretty great performance because he showed a lot of fire and a lot of heart. And the whole time he's going down. But I thought he acquitted himself very well in there with a guy who's well above his pay grade. Oka Sasaki's still pretty green. But he understood that he had to convey a lot of heart, a lot of effort, and a lot of, spirit and those sorts of things. And I thought that did come across well. I didn't think the match was terrible. I thought it was just an average match. But I thought Sasaki really stood out and performed very well.
I just thought it was really long and really boring, and it was a lot of Nakamura control period and Nakamura control period in 2025 in Noah when he doesn't really want to try or bring it. Was just, I thought it was torturous. Nakamura, I was stunned at how bad he was here. He just had no interest in even giving a modicum of effort in this match. Just nothing. And I think that's pretty annoying. You know what I mean? Like that annoys me. I'm an effort guy. You know what I mean? And it just annoys me. And I get you're going to win this. It's a rookie. It's a young guy or whatever. I understand that. But can we come on, man? It's a 7-man event. Can we try a little bit? But he's doing his demon thing, so he has no incentive to try. So whatever.
He doesn't try in his home company. He doesn't. He
hasn't tried in years. So why would he try? Why start now? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're being told that the Kano match would be potentially non-title.
Well, good. It should be.
Ozawa, yeah, because Kano did not deserve a title shot.
Because he doesn't deserve a title shot. Now, if Ozawa just wants to fight him, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. So if they're doing it non-title, then Ron Guy's doing it right.
A match that I did like was Team 2000X Jack Morris with the washboard abs glistening in this Nippon Budokan Hall. And that was in tip-top shape here. And his mystery partner, Omos. Yes, that Omos. WWE's Omos versus Naomichi Marufuji and Takashi Sugiura. They win the GHC tag team titles, and I thought this match was hilarious and pretty damn fun because they booked Omos like a giant in the perfect way that you book a giant. I mean, he would get in the ring with Sugiura, and Sugiura was like, test of strength. And it's like, Omos would be like, all right, let's do it. And Sugiura's like, I can't reach that high. That's not going to work for me. And then, he'd say, come on to my level, come here. And Omos would say, no, up here. You got to. So, it doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you, it was actually kind of fun. And then now Michi Marufuji gets in the ring and Omos just pretends he can't see him. Because Omos is looking straight and Marufuji's looking straight. And Marufuji's basically up to Omos's belly button. Because Omos is fucking tall. Omos is really, really, really shoot tall. And it maybe didn't come across.
He's a legit 7-footer.
Yeah, it maybe didn't come across how tall he was in WWE because it is also a land of giants in a lot of ways. He was tall in WWE, and you got that he was tall, but you don't quite comprehend how tall this guy is when he's in there against actual human beings. Like Takashi. Sugiura and Marufuji are just, they're great wrestlers, but they're not like physical freaks. You know what I mean? They're normal sized human beings. And Sugiura's a little taller, so he, came up to, I don't know, almost his chest, basically. But Marufuji's like up to his belly button or whatever, and Omos just pretends he can't see him. He's just looking over him. And then they work the rest of the match as in, like, Omos is a big giant, and these guys trying to take down the giant. And it kind of worked. I don't know about you, but I think this match kind of rocked. I don't know.
No, I liked it for what it was. I mean, it wasn't any kind of classic or anything, but they established almost for sure. And remember, this is a guy who played Division I college basketball and was measured for the NBA Combine. He's 7'3". Okay, so like Rich was saying, this is someone who is legitimately a fucking giant.
Yeah, not your bullshit wrestling 7 foot, like a legit 7 foot dude.
Right, measured, So they established him exactly the way they needed to. I love the way that the Japanese crowd, who had never seen him before, responded to his massive size. They were oohing and ahhing and everything. And then when he came out for the main event, they were just like, oh my God, what's this fucking guy? What's this guy going to do? I love the interactions with Sugiura and Marufuji. It was something a little different. And again, obviously he's going to be back. Now, the thing about Jack Morris was in the best shape he's ever been in his life, because he knows damn well that Paul Levesque and Shawn Michaels were going to watch this match. And if you think he's long for Noah, you're nuts. I mean, this guy is going to be, Morris Jackson is going to be in NXT within a year. I can almost guarantee you that, okay? Because his future was going to be America anyway.
For sure.
Because he took a giant leap over the last year. So I think I talked about that maybe a year ago when he just started jumping off the page. And he knew that this match was an opportunity for him to be seen by all the right people. And he was fucking shredded. He looked like he hasn't eaten a carb in months, because he knew this match was coming. I mean, he just looked incredible. And
he was so boisterous in this match too. He was so over the top. I mean, almost would get in the ring and he would be, he'd be gesturing the whole time. That was a trial. Yeah, like you're saying, that was a trial of, I hope you're watching.
He saw it as a tryout. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And I don't know if you saw Marufuji. Did you see Marufuji's tweet?
I don't think so, no.
So he basically said that Shawn Michaels saw the match and liked it.
Yep.
He tweeted that. He said, word got back to me that, I'm paraphrasing, that Shawn Michaels saw the match, blah, blah, blah. Because, obviously they're going to keep an eye on him out here on his excursion.
You don't think they're going to side Takeshi Sugiura? You don't think they're going for Sugiura? You think they're going to go for Jack Morris? Okay. All right. Yeah.
I mean, I hope not. I don't want them to sign. I don't want them to sign. I don't want them to sign anybody. but yeah, no. I mean, Jack Morris. I think his future was going to be American television wrestling anyway. But this is certainly going to expedite that. I think he knows it. I think that there's a good chance that Michaels and Levesque had never seen him before, but they're going to see him now, and Omos is going to report back, of course, too, and all of that. So. Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked a lot about the Noah WWE relationship. They, Inamura's already over there in NXT, and now, look, it's not going to be good. I mean, they're gonna pluck all the guys that they want, and it's going to be one-sided, with little sprinkles of handing them something like this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be one-sided, like all of their relationships have been historically, and you're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. They have the high ground. So. But yeah, it was fun for what it was, and almost by him winning the titles, it looks like he'll be around and part of this heel group. It's an exciting injection of something different for Noah.
And that should be noted too, that Omos is not a free agent or whatever. He is still signed to WWE. He is still employed by them.
Oh yeah. This is, if people aren't clear, this is a WWE wrestler working in Noah. It's part of the arrangement.
Manabu Soya defended the GHC national title against Masa Kitamiya. I thought this was a lot of fun here. 12 minutes, 51 seconds. It's Masa Kitamiya and Manabu Soya. I don't have to describe too much about how this match worked out. They beat the hell out of each other for 13 minutes, and Manabu Soya beat the hell out of Masa Kitamiya more than Masa Kitamiya beat the hell out of Manabu Soya. But that was pretty good. I mean, nothing to like go out of your way for, but I thought a solid enough match on a show that at this point was pretty damn good.
The story here is Kitamiya has never beaten Soya, and he still hasn't.
Right.
And even in the setup tag that they did at the Triple Summit show, Soya and Fujita beat Kitamiya and Odashima, and Soya pinned Kitamiya, it's kind of like backwards psychology. Normally the challenger is the one who beats the champion in setting up the title match, but they had the champion beat the challenger. The story here is Soya just beats Kitamiya like a drum. So maybe eventually they'll pay that off. It's Noah. You never know. Maybe they won't. But he beat him again. and the match was fine. It was exactly what you would think a Manabu Soya Masa Kitamiya mid-card match would be.
Yeah, a lot of good hope spots, though. I will say Kitamiya had a lot of good hope spots, then eventually Soya beat him, and then Kitamiya is just on the ground, just writhing in agony, just like, God damn it, fuck, I can't beat the guy, fuck.
Yeah, can't beat this guy. Yeah.
But eventually he will, and it'll be great. GHC Junior Heavyweight title. Best of 2 out of 3 falls. And I forgot this was the best 2 out of 3 falls. So when Taga beat Eita in like 2 seconds, I was like, holy shit.
You're like, all right, let's get out of here.
Like,
Great.
Whoa. I was like, wow. Who did Eita piss off? And like, again, Eita's good at pissing people off. So I thought he did it again. I was like, uh-oh, Eita's at it again. Taga beat him in 2 minutes. And then they got another fall. I was like, all right, 2 out of 3 falls. Okay, never mind. So this match must continue. And it did continue. And Eita did eventually get the win, winning 2 out of the 3 falls. 12 minutes, 34 seconds, winning the GHC Junior Heavyweight title. This was okay. Daga continues to be probably the most improved guy of the year. Like now that we've closed the book on 2024, I'd say Daga's probably my most improved.
Not the year anymore.
Yeah.
Not the year anymore. You can't stop saying it. It's a new year.
Yeah. Last year, he was 2024's most improved player, wrestler of the year, because I thought he was, compared to where he was a couple years ago to where he is now. I mean, he's not great, but he's really good, and he was the drizzling shits before. So that's something to be said. But I was kind of surprised that Eita got the win here. But whatever, decent enough, man.
Well, maybe he'll be the most unimproved, because I hated this match. I didn't think it was good at all.
Really?
So,
okay.
I thought Daga was back to the old Daga in this one. I think Eita didn't particularly look great, and this match did absolutely nothing for me. So, I didn't like it at all.
Well, here's a match that I hope to God you like, and I know that I liked, and I think everybody who watches this should probably, or whoever who listens to the show should go watch this match, and I think you're going to like it. Kenta versus Kano. Now, my God, this match. So the build was, these two men are pricks, right? Kenta and Kano.
Mirror images.
Fucking pricks. These are two big fucking pricks.
Two surly assholes.
So the match is, Kano says, hey, motherfucking prick, I want you to join our company again, you prick. And Kenta goes, fuck you, make me. Kano goes, all right, let's fucking fight, and I'll make you. So Kano's plan is, I'm going to convince this prick to join me, a prick, in Noah by beating the fuck out of him, okay? So they just get in this match, and they beat the shit out of each other like two fucking pricks, and Kenta beats him, and then Kano goes, good match, prick, and Kenta goes, fuck you, and walks out of the ring. That's wrestling, man. You know what I mean? That's it. That's the essence. Where is this? Where is this hatred anywhere else in wrestling? These two pricks hated each other, and the end goal of one of the pricks was to get the one guy to convince the one guy to join him. Come back to my company, asshole. No, well, then fine, I'll beat the fuck out of you, and then you'll come back. And then Kenta goes, Eventually he does. Yeah. Today he did decide to come back to the company, but I love they beat the fuck out of each other for 15 minutes. It's fucking great. It's so good. Kenta's kind of got a little bit of a throwback going. He's when you tell Kenta just go be a prick and chop some guy and kick some guy as hard as you can, he's pretty damn good at it. And Kano's Kano. And I love the post match. Kenta beats Kano, and Kano goes, put her here, brother. And Kenta just goes, fuck you, and just leaves the ring. I loved it so much. God, where's this hatred anywhere else in wrestling? Too much grab ass. Not enough this.
What it really needed was a charm bracelet.
Right, it needed a charm bracelet.
Yeah, what it really needed was they needed to be fighting over a charm bracelet.
Yeah, or really Kenta would have to hit 4 posts that turn colors, and then, and only then, and you know what? No weapons, no kendo sticks, no steel steps, no chairs with a certain color. It's a chair that's got the Noah logo on it. As Kenta goes, I will never return to Noah. And Kano goes, I'll make you return to the green ring. None of that shit. They just beat the fuck out of each other.
Right. They didn't promo each other to tell the story in the middle.
You left us. As Kano writhes in pain. It's fuck. No.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is the basis of every CM Punk feud that he has in the company now. You left us.
Right.
Like,
you left,
we're going to do this forever.
We heard you.
So I thought that this was such a great match because I thought that Kenta did so much, yet did so little. I don't know if he bumped. I'd have to go back and watch.
He probably didn't.
But it didn't matter.
Who bumps more, Kenta or Davey Boy Smith Jr.? It's a tough. You'll have to rewatch it and see. Maybe Davey Boy, and that's saying something for sure.
But I don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's, I think a lot of people espouse minimalism, and they put minimalism on a pedestal sometimes to where it's like, all right, we're going too far. Okay, with particularly when people watch older footage, sometimes I think they put over the idea of minimalism a little too much. Yeah, we all know that the art of pro wrestling decades ago was these guys wanted to do as little as they can get away with while still remaining over. We get that. But that doesn't mean you have to always find it entertaining just because they managed to pull it off, right? You could still call a spade in what it is. And I think people get a little too wrapped up in that. This was the kind of minimalism to me that works better than Austin Idol throwing somebody in a side headlock, but the Memphis crowd still being hot for it. So Austin Idol knowing, oh, okay, this is all I have to do tonight. That's minimalism, and that's just also being lazy. The minimalism that Kenta practiced in this match was a little different. Yeah, he didn't bump all over the place. His body's in shambles. He doesn't want to do that. He has his nights where he's awful. But he beat the shit out of Kano. Okay? And this didn't come across like lazy minimalism. This didn't come across like working the fucking marks in the crowd, which that's the kind of minimalism that I think fans should be careful in putting over. Okay? Yeah, you're real smart, and you're just trying to show off how smart you are to the business when you put over that kind of minimalism, lazy minimalism. This was different. This was a guy who didn't bump all over the place or put his body through much here, other than some slaps and things like that. But he beat the shit out of this guy, and they told the story that you laid out exactly the way they wanted to tell it, where Kano bit off too much that he could chew from a guy who's basically him, but 15 years older and from another era in the company, mirror images, all of that. And Kenta really, by the end of this, won it in dominant fashion. The way that if you're going to keep the story going, he should have.
Yeah.
Now, if this was going to be a one-off, Kano should have won. But now that we know that it's not, this is exactly the way Kenta should have won this. And now it makes me curious what the next step is going to be. And we always have to put the caveat of it's Nosawa Rangai's booking, and it might not go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Or Kenta might just beat him 6 straight times, like right. Muto fucking owned Kiyomiya, which is why Kiyomiya, by the way, is getting is being treated like is getting booed against a heel now because he was geeked out for so long. That's totally on Rangai. So who knows? But I'm curious now where this goes. And this match fucking rocked. And with Kenta, it's you never know what you're going to get.
That's the other caveat too. But he's been good for, I've been talking about this a lot. I mean, I think in MLW and a lot of the live places I've seen, he's been okay for like the last year. He's been trying a little bit better. I think he finally understands how to be whatever he is now. He's never going to be the Kenta of old, but there's a new Kenta that's out there that doesn't suck, which is good. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with that. There's a new Kenta style that's not atrocious, because there was a while there where he was, I thought, actually atrocious and just not trying at all.
I think he understood the time and place too. He came out to one of his old Noah themes, which of course popped me through the roof, right? For people who don't know, this is my favorite wrestler of all time. And he comes out to one of his old Noah themes, and he had that look in his eye, and I'm like, holy shit, he's going to be Kenta tonight. He's not going to be going for low blows and holding the tights on roll-ups and his American indie shtick, right? This isn't going to be what he doesn't defy. This isn't going to be his Bullet Club shit that he does in New Japan. It's all in the eyes, Rich. He was Kenta on this night. Mm-hmm. Now, he wasn't physically capable like it was 2009 or 2005, right? But he was Kenta. And he beat the shit out of this guy and put him away. And I felt that feeling that I feel when I love pro wrestling when I watch this match. And I don't feel that feeling a lot lately. It hit me on World's End with the C2 stuff, and it hit me here with Kano and Kenta. I thought this was fantastic. And if Kenta is going to stick around Noah, I think this would be a great home for him. I think this would be
so much better than him fucking around on undercards in New Japan.
I don't need to see him in New Japan ever again.
Yeah.
I don't need to see him in New Japan anymore.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't need that.
I'm good.
Now I think he lives in Florida, so he'll knock around whoever books him in America, he'll take it. But if this is going to be his Japanese home, I think this is a great move to go back. When he left WWE, New Japan was the move. And a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to go back to Noah. And if you remember, I was like, no, he isn't. He'd be a fool to go back to Noah.
Yeah, to state that Noah was in at that point? Yeah, no way.
The state it was in, he wasn't going to make any money. New Japan was hot. The move was New Japan. And he went to New Japan, and that was the right move. Now, at this point in 2025, Noah would be this is the time to go back. They got real money backing. He could make more money than he would have made in whatever year that was, 2017, 18, whatever year that was. And it's a good fit for him. And there's a lot for him to do. And so we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be a short-term thing, a long-term thing, but this really gave me that feeling, and that wrestling has been failing to give me very much over the last whatever length of time.
Yeah, it was a great match. Go out of your way. This is my first notebook match of the year. So far, I think my only notebook match of the year.
I thought the main event. The main event was great.
Sorry. Those two. Sorry, I meant first as in the first one I put in, and then it
happened before that. Yeah,
right.
I'll say this though. This match isn't for everybody. I mean, I could see people not liking this match.
No, they're wrong.
I agree. Listen, I just waxed poetic about it, but. Right. I also don't think it's a universal great match. That I don't think, because let me try to see if I can articulate this. It's a certain, I knew you were going to love it. That I didn't have any doubt. And I think most of the audience we're talking to probably really liked it, at minimum. But is it, I don't want to give people the wrong impression. I haven't seen it. Is this like a traditional quote unquote notebook style great match? No, it's a different kind of match.
Yeah, like you said, it's 15 minutes, but not that much happens in those 15 minutes. But everything that happens is fucking great and impactful. It's very
impactful and nasty. Yes, it's a different kind of match. Maybe that's a better way of saying what I'm trying to say.
We'll run down the rest of the card here real quick here. Galeno Del Mal defeats El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. pretty definitively as well. And that's when I was like, ooh, what's going on there? And then that's when, the news came out a little bit later that day that Wagner Jr. was finishing up with Noah. So that made all the sense in the world. Put your brother over on the way out. Then I guess we should do it in this way. So there was... let's go. I'm going to go to the top of the show, and then because I'm going to work my way to the time limit draw match. So you had a battle royal that started it off. It was terrible. Battle royals in Japan stink. Tadasuke won this one. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about the opening battle royal?
I skipped through it.
Yeah, it was 24 minutes. Yeah. Nothing happened. Don't watch it. You're good. GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match here. Ratels Joe defeated All Rebellion of Alejandro and Kai Fujimura and Amakusa and Junta Miyawaki.
The other thing was that we didn't mention was stupid Hayata came out and challenged Eita after the junior match, which nobody needs wants to see. Yeah. So
no. And then we had old guys. Oh shit. Yeah, mostly old guys here. Atsushi Kotogi, Go Shiozaki, Hajime Ohara, and Muhammad Yone defeated Black Menso Ray, Kaz Fujita, Suji Ishikawa, and Tetsuya Endo. So not all old guys, but mostly old guys. So this was just, this is pretty good. This is a decent enough match.
You're just getting guys on the card, but exactly. The important thing was Daiki Odashima coming back out to challenge Ironhead Fujita, which they were in the tag match together at the Triple Summit show and had that great exchange that I just raved about on Flagship Plus. So now they're kind of like in this feud where Odashima just wants to get his hands on this guy. So they had their 1 minute time limit match, and it ended in the 1 minute time limit draw. And Fujita, sold a little more for him this time and everything. But Odashima has just been so much fun. He just lost to the aforementioned Matsunaga that we just talked about on the Limit Break show, and I really enjoyed that match in the Limit Break opener from November. And then he had the Fujita stuff on the Triple Summit and then the Fujita stuff here, which was super fun. So Daiki Odashima is he's just doing the typical fired up young boy thing where he bites off more than he can chew, and it's just against Fujita. And it's just, this to me has been the most fun Fujita has been like ever. He's just been so good in this role opposite of Odashima. I've really loved it.
Yeah, and this was for the gimmick here was that Fujita's like, hey, if you can last a minute with me, fine, go for it. Try to last a minute with me. Let's see what happens. So Daiki Odashima runs in the ring, and he's like, let's go. Fujita doesn't leave. He finishes the tag match, stays in the ring. Daiki Odashima runs into the ring and goes, let's go, motherfucker, let's go. And then the bell rings.
Yeah, let's go.
And he's got 1 minute, and he's just like, bam, bam, bam. He's just going at it. And then, Fujita gets a couple of, Odashima's got the edge for like the first 45 seconds of the minute. And you're like, oh, man, he might be able to do it. He might be able to put it away.
Well, because last time Fujita didn't sell at all.
Yeah, and he sold a little bit. Sold a little bit here.
Like he was giving him drop kicks if Fujita just wasn't even, but like he just so there, but anyway, like he didn't beat him though. He got the draw. Like Fujita didn't beat him.
Right. Fujita then, he slammed him a couple times. Then he finally slams him one time, but then the minute draw happens, and it's like, all right. So they have to, scrape this guy off the mat. He still got destroyed in the end, but he lasted the minute, and the crowd loved it. They were just like, yeah, he lasted a minute. Good for you, man. So I loved it. This match rocked. I like. It's one of those weird ones that you don't know how to rate exactly, but this is a lot of fun. You should probably watch this match.
Yeah, no, the Odashima Fujita stuff has been a big winner. The Noah cards all of a sudden are real fun.
They are.
They might not be great. Like this wasn't a great pro wrestling show,
And then we had old guys. Oh shit. Yeah, they're mostly old guys here. Atsushi Kotogi, Go Shiozaki, Hajime Ohara, and Muhammad Yone defeated Black Menso Ray, Kaz Fujita, Tsuji Ishikawa, and Tetsuya Endo. So not all old guys, but mostly old guys. So this was just, this is pretty good. This is a decent enough match.
You're just getting guys on the card,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The important thing was Daiki Odashima coming back out to challenge Ironhead Fujita, which they were in the tag match together at the Triple Summit show and had that great exchange that I just raved about on Flagship Plus. So now they're kind of like in this feud where Odashima just wants to get his hands on this guy. So they had their 1 minute time limit match, and it ended in the 1 minute time limit draw. And Fujita, sold a little more for him this time and everything. But Odashima has just been so much fun. He just lost to the aforementioned Matsunaga that we just talked about on the Limit Break show, and I really enjoyed that match in the Limit Break opener from November. And then he had the Fujita stuff on the Triple Summit, and then the Fujita stuff here, which was super fun. So Daiki Odashima is like, he's just doing the typical fired up young boy thing where he bites off more than he can chew, and it's just against Fujita. And it's just, this to me has been the most fun Fujita has been like ever. He's just been so good in this role opposite of Odashima. I've really loved it.
Yeah, and this was for the gimmick here was that Fujita's like, hey, if you can last a minute with me, fine, go for it. Try to last a minute with me. Let's see what happens. So Daiki Odashima runs in the ring, and he's like, let's go. Fujita doesn't leave. He finishes the tag match, stays in the ring. Daiki Odashima runs into the ring and goes, let's go, motherfucker, let's go. And then the bell rings.
Yeah, let's go.
And he's got 1 minute, and he's just like, bam, bam, bam. He's just going at it. And then, Fujita gets a couple of, Odashima's got the edge for like the first 45 seconds of the minute. And you're like, oh, man, he might be able to do it. He might be able to put it away.
Well, because last time Fujita didn't sell at all.
Yeah, and he sold a little bit. Sold a little bit here.
Like he was giving him drop kicks if Fujita just wasn't even, but like he just so there, but anyway, like he didn't beat him though. He got the draw. Like Fujita didn't beat him.
Right. Fujita then, he slammed him a couple times. Then he finally slams him one time, but then the minute draw happens, and it's like, all right. So they have to, scrape this guy off the mat. He still got destroyed in the end, but he lasted the minute, and the crowd loved it. They were just like, yeah, he lasted a minute. Good for you, man. So I loved it. This match rocked. I like. It's one of those weird ones that you don't know how to rate exactly, but this is a lot of fun. You should probably watch this match.
Yeah, no, the Odashima Fujita stuff has been a big winner. The Noah cards all of a sudden are real fun.
They are.
They might not be great. Like this wasn't a great pro wrestling show. The Kenta match was great and the main event was great. And then there was a bunch of fun stuff on it, with Omos and this Odashima Fujita stuff. Whereas there have been the Noah shows since Muto have left have been like funerals a lot of the times. It's just been so dry.
Right. This is a good crowd too, like you said.
Good crowd, outside of like when you have like Dragon Bane and that guy, those there's just a lot of it is so dry and dull, and this just had some energy around it. There were people there, and the crowd was hot, and they're trying some different things. So yeah, I enjoyed this show top to bottom.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. It definitely went by fast, and I had a lot of fun checking it out. And I'm interested in Noah again. We'll see how long it lasts before they make me annoyed, but I am interested again in Pro Wrestling Noah. So good for them on that. Let's move over real quickly here to All Japan Pro Wrestling's New Year's show. New Triple Crown champion on the December 31st show, just before New Year's, Anichi New Year's main event. Jun Saito defeating Davey Boy Smith Jr. to win the Triple Crown Championship. Now, this was not as good as Osawa Kaito Kiyomiya. I think that's pretty safe to say. This was weird. This was a very, very weird match. This is 21 minutes and 47 seconds, and 21 of those minutes are just very deliberate, back and forth, two big guys kind of going at it and chopping each other down and striking each other. And you're like, all right, yeah, I see where they're going with this. These are two big guys, and they're out there having a big guy match or whatever. And then just kind of out of nowhere, Jun Saito hits one of the worst choke slams you'll ever see, because Davey Boy Smith Jr. just decided, a man of few bumps decided, I'm not going up for this thing. You can lift me up as high as you can. I'll go up that far, but no more than that. So Jun Saito hits a choke slam where Davey Boy Smith Jr. is maybe 3 feet off the ground, and then covers him, and then it's 1, 2, 3, and the crowd's just like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very flat finish. It was a very flat finish to a very boring match.
It was stuck in second gear the whole time, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. Maybe in a second, maybe any second now, and then he just hits this choke slam. Again, one of the worst choke slams you've ever seen in your entire life. And then I felt bad for this crowd, and I felt bad for Jun Saito too, because the crowd was like, they like Jun Saito.
They weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for it. They didn't think that was going to be the finish, so it didn't get that big pop.
Right, and it didn't feel like an impactful choke slam. It didn't feel like an impactful move. It didn't feel like an impactful match. So when he won, it was just kind of like 1, 2, 3, and the crowd's just like, oh, that's it? Okay. And they eventually cheered once he, celebrated and did all of his sort of stuff. But yeah, this was weird. This was a very weird match. Davey Boy Smith Jr. did not have his working boots on today. I'll tell you that.
No, and I didn't think his title win was all that great either. But the thing with Jun Saito is, they're running full steam ahead with the Saitos. Okay. We talked about this last time. They filled up Korakuen featuring those guys. This show did about 2,500 fans. They obviously are a very popular act in the company right now. But I wouldn't pin all of this on Davey Boy Smith Jr. I think if Jun Saito has a substantial Triple Crown run, you're going to get some matches like this.
Oh, yeah.
These guys aren't great workers, and we like them and we've defended them, and I think that they are the tag team of the year. Shockingly, Rich, I don't think it's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, like Uncrowned seems to think it was.
Okay.
Like the Brainiacs over there seem to think it was, based on what I don't know. But look, I think they should be tag team of the year based on the fact that they're
Axiom. You wouldn't vote like Axiom or any? Okay, whatever, fine.
Oh no, they voted Jade Cargill. Listen. Think of all of the great Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill matches.
We don't have enough time on the show. I wish we had more time. We're running out of time, so I'd love to name them all, but we're running out of time. So
yeah, maybe next week. But when you consider that they're a tag team that's arguably the most popular act in their company, and their rise up the card this year, and all the and they've had. But every now and then you're going to get matches like this out of both of these guys.
Oh yeah, and there's a tag team is probably their best place, because I think they can work with each other pretty well, and they can work with in the tag realm pretty well. But I think that's maybe the what's going to be the crux of it, is that as singles guys, they've never quite delivered on. And Jun's had a couple matches here and there, like you said. The one with Kento, during the Champion Carnival was really good. He's had a couple of really good matches throughout the years, but yeah, there's a good chance you're going to get some stinkers too, for sure. I don't think he's ready to slide into that spot and be Kento Miyahara and Yuma Anzai tomorrow. No, I don't think that's happening.
They're not work rate heroes or anything, these guys, and this match just fell flat and didn't work, and it doesn't get his title reign off to a great start, but it doesn't mean that it can't work. I don't have a problem with them trying this. I'm not going to say I wasn't surprised, because I was a little surprised. We'll see how it goes. They didn't really set up a challenger, at least that I don't remember, because the post match was all Davey Boy Smith Jr. doing his I Love All Japan routine, I love the Zen Nihon, whatever the hell the phrase is, the word, Japanese wording is for All Japan. Because New Japan is Shin Nihon, right? The Shin Nihon freaks. And then this is Zen Nihon, maybe. I don't know. But, he's busy doing that. And I keep waiting for him to turn because it's so over the top and corny that I keep waiting for him. Okay, we're getting over this thing that you're this American guy who loves All Japan. Now, who do you turn on and when do you do it? Right? That's what I keep waiting for. But it never happens. And then they're doing that chant that the fans really don't want to do. And they just keep doing it over and over because the fans were like, we heard you. We did it 3 times already. Like, and now, it's, we don't love All Japan that much.
Yeah,
like,
we like All Japan. We like All Japan, but we don't love it quite the way you seem to love it.
We do. Yeah, like you want to fuck All Japan. We don't love it that much. So I'm waiting for him to turn because it's so over the top, but it never comes. And I don't think they set up a challenger. They just kind of then they came out and just threw the trinkets to the crowd.
Yes. Because I forget who the first guy came out, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then I was like, oh, he's just throwing trinkets out of the crowd or whatever. It was like Kento Miyahara was the first one out of the gates, and I was like, uh-oh, we're going right to Kento. And then he was like, no, I'm throwing this to the crowd. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. And I didn't watch the New Year. They had a show this morning that I did not see, so I don't know if they set anything up this morning on the show. But yeah, there you go. So.
I think they might be just moving on from Kento at the top. I think they might just be like, hey, look, we've got to get new guys over. We can't keep leaning on Kento Miyahara forever. And that might be what's happening here. We'll see what the rest of the year brings. But, we'll see. This was not a great start, though. Just an average, below average match with a very flat finish. Mm-hmm. And, they're going to go with Jun Saito. We'll see how it works out.
Great message here from Ibu, who's in the No Dopes chat room right now. True story. Bianca Belair tweeted her favorite matches of the year, and none of them were Jade Cargill tags.
Well, I mean,
That's so good.
I don't know if there's any heat between them, but that would certainly make me think that there might be.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You throw one in there.
I can't throw a token. Oh yeah, my tag team with Jade. Yeah, that was good too. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, look, uncrowned. That's the Helwani thing, and it's going to be normie picks. We all understand that. It's going to, all of their picks for that stuff is going to be 99% WWE and AEW, right? You get a little sprinkle of TNA if you're lucky, right? I get that. But even like you just said, Rich, even on that basis, how do you not take Axiom? Fraxium,
right, there are WWE tag teams that you could take if you want to say we must have a WWE tag team.
Well, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. It's Frazier and because they're not just, it's Frazier and Axiom because they're not just having good matches to pop people like us. They're also pushed. They're pushed and they're on all the pay-per-views. It's not like you're picking some deep cut of stuff from Level Up. This is a push tag team, So I don't understand the basis of even choosing Belair. And is it based on vibes? Is it just what are we basing this on? What are your criteria?
Vibes.
I don't understand. What would the criteria even be?
Vibes.
Is anybody going to remember their title
Cinema.
reign 5 years from now? No
God,
one's ever going to think of it.
God, no. So apparently
crazy.
there's an All Japan show going on as we're recording this, and they just set up Anzai in June on that show.
Okay, great. I'm all about it. It might be a little soon to go right to that. I have to watch that show and absorb it before I have a take.
Yeah.
But that's aggressive, and I don't know if you want Jun Saito beating Anzai. I don't know if you want Jun Saito losing right away. I don't have a feel for that. It's too fresh. My first instinct would be, though, that it doesn't hurt Jun Saito at all if he loses immediately. And maybe giving him a quickie Triple Crown title reign is something they wanted to do. And by having him beat Davey Boy Smith, they didn't burn off a match they care about.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just have this guy coming in on a 6-month contract and he beats him. And, they did they kind of in a program with the tag league final and everything. So, and I'm thinking out loud, hearing fresh news. I feel like Anzai could win that and it won't hurt Jun Saito at all.
No. Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to have it be like a transitional thing or whatever, but yeah, you quote unquote made a guy in Jun Saito. He now has that forever. So yeah, if you want to go back to Anzai, you can, or yeah, you tell some more to their story. That I want to watch that match and watch whatever set that up. Before I could say for sure. But that's an interesting booking. Elsewhere on the show, it wasn't a great All Japan show. I don't know what you thought of it. I thought the semi-main event tag was pretty damn solid. Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai defeating Kento and Ryo Inoue to retain their All Asia Tag Team titles. I thought that was really good.
I will say this: I like Anzai and Hayato as a team.
Yes,
it's growing on me. Hayato is growing on me. I didn't want to see them lose. I didn't think they'd lose, and they didn't. And yes, that was the best match on the show. The only other match on the show that I really liked was Daisuke Sekimoto and Dan Tamura. I wish they would have pulled the trigger on Dan Tamura beating him. Dan Tamura is another guy who's growing on me. You know why? Because he's big and ugly. Mm-hmm. And we need more big and ugly.
Big, ugly motherfucker, yep.
You don't care about his haircut. He's not one of these Puro twinks. There's a million of them running around. He's just a big, ugly guy with a bad body and a bad haircut. And I think we need more of that. And All Japan obviously has that at the top with Jun Saito. You know what I mean? It's like in the Saito brothers. But I like this guy too. And I feel like, man, Daisuke Sekimoto, he should just beat him, right? Do something, you know, that might mean something for Tamura. But, you know, Sekimoto won, and maybe that's part of whatever deal they had with him coming in for this. I don't know. But although he has been kind of around.
He's been around. He did some real world. He was in a couple of those real world he's in the real world tag league, and he was around.
Yeah,
he's been around a little bit more than you would think.
Yeah,
and obviously,
in the orbit.
I'm sure Big Japan ain't paying the bills alone. So, hey, I'm fine with that. I think he was okay in this match. He's not the Daisuke Sakamoto of 7 years ago or whatever, but he's still pretty damn good. And yeah, Dan Tamura's look, he's got like that. He kind of looks like Go Shiozaki when Go Shiozaki was doing his dollar store site Kensuke Sasaki thing, where he had this like weird
and he
hair.
wasn't in his best shape.
Yeah, he was like
floppy
fat
hair
with bad hair. Yeah. That's kind of what Dan Tamura looks like. He's chubby. He's got a
fat.
Yeah. It's like that Go Shiozaki of I forget what exact year that was. That was like
I know the era you're talking about.
Yeah, like the mid 2000s.
I'm picking up what you're
before he got himself in good shape and cut the hair and whatnot. Like I mean, he's just kind of ugly and fat and it's kind of what Dan Tamura looks like here. But that was a fun match. The rest of the show, I mean, honestly, I could
nothing of note.
Nothing of note. Yeah, nothing that really stood out to me whatsoever. Ren Ayabe continues to be just.
And this was not. He wasn't even that bad.
He
on
was
this night.
fine,
Was
but it's just like
a
get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? I watch him. I'm like, get out of here, dude. Come on, man. Yeah, he was fine in that match, but he's just a nothing.
Yep. Yeah. So they beat the Aoyagis, Ayabe and Ryuki Honda. And Ryuki Honda, another ugly motherfucker.
Yeah.
All Japan is the home of the ugly motherfuckers.
Big,
and I'm all about
chubby
it.
motherfucking ugly dudes. Yeah, I'm into it.
Cyrus.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
The next guy I was going to bring up is Cyrus. The Saitos are big and ugly and fat and yeah. It's so good. Yeah, there's enough.
They're not printing up idol books and fucking what are
no.
What in Japan, like the jerk off books where
the
shirtless portfolio books for people to buy and jerk off to. You're not getting a lot of that in all Japan.
You're not selling a lot. They might be making them, but they're not selling a lot if they are. So this show also featured one of the great moments that I've witnessed. Naruki Doi coming out to Dream Warriors because it was like Rai Saito and Senior Saito and the Naruki Doi. But they gave, obviously it's the Saito brothers, so they gave it the Dream Warriors. So Naruki Doi's got to go in the ring and do his like Naruki Doi stance while they're like Dream Warriors is playing. And I'm like, I can get down with this. I think he should be the honorary Saito brother. I like that. If this was a Dragon Gate stable, you could throw Naruki Doi in that unit, right?
Well, I mean, he's been aligned with them in the past. Right. So if I'm remembering properly,
I think so. Yeah. So I think it works out pretty well that he's like the junior.
Yeah, Doi's going to drift in and out of a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And, I always enjoy watching him. I think he keeps things simple in all the right ways, kind of the ways I was talking about before, where there's different kinds of minimalism and where some should be praised and some get overpraised. And, he's another guy who keeps it simple and always tells a cohesive story, whether he's got 6 minutes or 16 minutes or 26 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind when he pops up at all. He doesn't seem to age. He looks exactly like he looks in 2005. It's just, so, Yeah, I got no beef when Naruki, and this was another battle royal that I skipped. I
skipped this one too. I just decided I saw guys coming out, and I was like, I'm good. I don't think I have time for this. And
I think I saw the news that Hideki Suzuki is full-time All Japan now.
Oh, right. I forgot to mention that in the contract news. Yes, Hideki Suzuki is full-time All Japan.
Yeah, so there's also that. But yeah, look, I think both Noah and All Japan made some bold moves that I can't really knock. They made bold moves that they didn't feel like desperation moves, and neither one of them felt like reaches or crowning someone too soon, or because you can do things like this and the timing isn't right and it doesn't feel. But I think Ozawa and both the Ozawa and the Jun Saito thing both just felt like fresh, bold moves. I think that's the best way to sum up both of them.
I think so too. Yeah, it was exciting in the sense that when I was done with both these shows, I said, cool, there's brand new directions. A new year starts with brand new directions and brand new guys. Jun Saito now moving forward in 2025, he's been made. He's a guy. He's a Triple Crown champion. Now you know when he's going to go in a champion carnival, he's got a legit chance to win it. Now you know he's in a title match, he has a legit chance to win it. They made a guy there. And then Ozawa, they completely transformed Noah in one day, basically.
Yeah.
So you're done watching that show being like, holy crap, we got a brand new champion. Kaito Kiyomiya is on his back heels. Kenta's now back in this thing. Kano's, more exciting than he's been in a while. And this Ozawa guy, I mean, he's got this unit and these guys and they're running Ruckshaw with the company. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming out of Noah too. So yeah, it was definitely cool. We'll see if New Japan follows suit. They have an opportunity to do the same this weekend too. So we'll see. We'll see if they do that at Wrestle Kingdom. But that is it for this show. We will be back. Not that far from here. We'll be back. Instant Reaction Live, January 4th. Yeah,
about 24 hours.
Yeah, about 24 hours.
28 hours or something like that.
Instant Reaction Live for Wrestle Kingdom 19 here, immediately following the show. None of this 5 p.m. the next day, the next afternoon shit. No, immediately following the show, we'll be going live. Instant Reaction Live, the best post pay-per-view show in the game. Instant Reaction Live for both Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. So we'll see all of you guys later in this weekend. $10 tier, of course, flagshippatreon.com if you want to listen into those shows live. But that is it for us on the Flagship. That is Joe. I'm Rich. We'll talk to you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the co-hosts of Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. Episodes drop every other Monday where we discuss the biggest Joshi news, review shows, and preview the hottest upcoming Joshi action.
So whether you're a new fan or an old fan, we've got something here for you at Jumping Bomb Audio.
Check us out on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.